Welcome to Scoundrels, Inc., episode 13, take 2.
That's right. Maybe you've seen Take 1. Maybe you haven't.
It's on our Patreon. Link in the description down below.
Links in the description.
Today we're talking about all of the news. We got Star Wars Jedi Survivor poster. We got a Star Wars Jedi Survival novel. We've got a release date. We've got deluxe edition. We've got a Bad Batch trailer. We've got more news on the Acolyte. We've got a release date for the Mandalorian. We've got episode details for the Bad Batch. We're probably going to forget one of those things, but that's fine. You're still going to love the ride. You can find us on TikTok, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, all those lovely places. Give us a like, give us a subscribe.
Do it right now.
Don't worry. The OnlyFans is coming. We'll get there. I know you've asked for it. Brandon's pinup shoots are coming.
They're good.
Speaking of coming, we were supposed to talk about our favorite droids in Star Wars this week. We're going to push that back because there's so much news to cover.
And Kevin's not here, actually. That's the real reason.
And
He loves
Kevin's not
droids. He
here.
loves the droids. He loves droids.
Don't worry, Kevin will be back.
At least that's what his lawyer told us to say.
Yeah.
That's actually, I have a prepared statement from Kevin.
Yeah.
Oh, read it.
Yeah.
It's prepared, right? You prepared it?
It is prepared.
Did he really send one? Because he might have.
Okay.
Or is it from last time?
This is the Kevin Smet statement on droids.
Oh, God.
Without droids, the Naboo spacecraft carrying Qui-Gon Jinn, Obi-Wan, and Padme Amidala would be space dust. Without droids, Padme would be bathing in a liquid molten lava bath. Without droids, Jyn Erso doesn't have enough time to steal the data tapes. Without droids, the Death Star plans do not end up on Tatooine in the hands of Luke Skywalker and Kenobi. I could go on, but I won't.
Is that it?
Oh, it said Q Frank saying, "Thank God, I was waiting for your cue." Okay.
Well, I did say something.
But basically, without droids, the galaxy would have gone to shit. Therefore, here's my list of top 3 droids. We're not going to get into that, okay? We'll talk about that later. Speaking of phones, thanks, Sean, for reading the statement on your trusty phone. A trusted device that doesn't have emotions, doesn't get rattled if you drop him, or get sad if you don't use him to play Words with Friends for a few weeks, or can't do its job because someone in the family died. How would you use Waze to make your way to a funeral if your phone is in your pocket crying like a little bitch? And it can be made into a mini projector. So, in conclusion, even your phone is better than B2 Emo.
I thought you were joking when you said you had a prepared.
I knew he wasn't.
Sorry, you missed your cue. It said cue Brandon's B2 Marva impersonation.
Marva. Where's Marva? Wait.
This is why we are pushing back to topic because
Kevin thinks.
Oh, that's
Kevin thinks he can avoid.
exactly. He's gonna just send out a statement and then that's it. No. We're pushing it back. We're gonna talk about it next week, buddy. All right.
Although I will say his number 3. I quite like his number 3.
Well,
his number 3 is a good choice.
Okay.
It's a shocker. No pun intended, but it's a good choice.
But also, I also wanted, aside from the news, which there's a lot to talk about, I kind of wanted to, just let's go around the horn, if you will, about what we're watching, what we're reading,
like
playing in Star Wars.
Taking a step back to talk about our actual love of Star Wars.
Yeah, outside of, because we've been covering Andor for forever now, and
haven't had a chance to get to the root of the problem.
The root?
The problem that is our love of Star Wars, right?
Oh, sure.
It's all consuming. It surrounds us, binds us, penetrates us.
We should really watch Blue Harvest.
We should watch Blue
Harvest. But because outside of Andor, Andor was actually the reason why I started a Rebels rewatch, basically. Mm-hmm. Just because at least that first season and Andor line up, I think it's first season, and Andor line up pretty well for the most part. And then there's obviously the Secret Cargo episode in Rebels, which Kevin talked about when Andor brought up the Gormans and Mon Mothma and the Senate and all that. And watching back Rebels and juxtaposing that to Andor, I even mentioned it last episode where you have Hera and Luthen kind of like polar opposites in terms of leaders and what they're willing to do and not do, sacrifices and things like that. But watching all of Rebels, and then I even tweeted out when, Brandon, cover your ears. Very good. Kanan dies, and that episode still is so impactful.
That episode's so
and
fucking good.
So good. And even like they don't just have Kanan die and that's the episode and they go on. It lingers on for like the next episode and really lingers on for the rest of the series, which is only like a handful of episodes, but still okay, you can take them off now.
Okay, it turns out I was wearing headphones,
So you can
and
hear
I can hear
everything.
everything. So I heard the Kanan dies.
No.
But
I
please,
meant-
just please tell me that Caleb Doom's gonna be okay.
Yeah, Caleb Doom is gonna be fine. I promise.
thank
well,
gosh.
Doom definitely is fine.
Yeah,
Doom.
Doom is a great episode.
Credits
Yes.
will do fine.
I mean, Kanan is. I've been meaning to do a Rebels rewatch because Kanan remains one of my favorite characters in modern Star Wars. Kanan and Cal just together, like this whole like this sort of outlaw Jedi theme that they've got going. That it's kind of been one of those things that's been in the tertiary background of Star Wars, you know. But we've never really gotten to witness. Some of the old comics with Obi-Wan do touch on it a little bit, but Kanan and Caleb are both the first two characters to really nail that vibe, that dynamic of this sort of Jedi on the run. I'm not a Jedi, but I am a Jedi. I'm trying to hide my powers in some way, shape, or form. I mean, fucking Cal Kestis has a Jedi starfighter at his beck and call with all his stuff hiding in it, right? I mean, you know, yeah, it doesn't function anymore, but it's, you know, he's ready to go as soon as shit goes down. So yeah, I need to do a rewatch of Rebels. We got to get Brandon.
Yeah, we're gonna
watching
we gotta
some Rebels.
Figure that out. But also, I mean, even Ezra in this show. I mean, there's so much. I didn't really know when Rebels first started. I wasn't really sure how I felt about Ezra as being this, and it's not like the Ahsoka thing. It's kind of like that because you're like this kid's kind of annoying.
I think it is.
Yeah, it's kind of annoying. Well, yes, he's kind of like in the same vein. But what was interesting is that Ahsoka's learning from Anakin, and Ezra's learning from Kanan, who didn't even go through a full proper training because of Order 66, obviously, and just been on the run and uses a blaster, isn't outright a Jedi, and isn't until Ezra comes along and Harrow's like, you got to train him, you should train him, and they get further and further into the rebellion. Does Kanan, really, really fall back into the way of the Jedi, if you will, and bringing Ezra along with him, and they have such a great relationship that is very different than the way Ahsoka and Anakin had a relationship, which I think was really interesting to watch happen and unfold throughout Rebels, and all the lessons that they're kind of. I mean, it's like the ending between Anakin and Ahsoka is very much a downer and very sad, whereas the endings with no one truly ever gone, but Kanan and Ezra is like the way their mentorship culminates and basically sort of ends, at least in the physical world, was very like moving and touching, especially when Ezra ends up sacrificing himself.
It's a lot more inspiring to Ezra, and it's a lot more of that that hero's journey step of losing your mentor and all of that.
Yeah.
I mean, it empowers Ezra in a way to sort of become a Jedi Knight in his own right. I know he never officially becomes a Jedi Knight, but like it empowers him in his own way to become a Jedi Knight and fill Kanan's shoes because Kanan can't be there.
I would like to think that Yoda ends up speaking to Ezra one more time
over Force Skype.
Yeah, over Force Skype, and maybe he knights him.
Maybe I don't know.
Maybe Ezra goes off and finds another temple guard and has another adventure outside after.
It
Rebels.
is certainly possible that. I mean, this is something. Shockingly, we don't have news on the Ahsoka series this week, but this is something I expect the Ahsoka series to eventually tackle.
Yeah.
Right. Or for us to eventually get an answer on Ezra's fate. I mean, I find it more likely that Ezra strays from the Jedi path. Not in a negative way, but in a similar way that Ahsoka did, where he's going to find his own path, and this strict tenet of,
Maybe, but I feel like that would be a little too much resembling Luke in a way.
But I think that's where, if we look at the culmination of the sequel trilogy, I think that's where the sequel trilogy was leading. right?
Sure.
I think, and
But you got to remember, like, when the Ahsoka still takes place before, or no, it takes place, before The Force Awakens.
Sure,
so, like,
but
and it's not that far past, Battle of Endor.
right,
It's
but
like
I'm more
6
looking
years,
at,
7 years.
I'm not
at this
necessarily
point.
looking at, like, timeline-wise, like, oh, that's where the sequel trilogy was leading, so that's anything has to come after. I more mean from a thematic production standpoint. At the time that Rebels was released was around the time that we were mid-sequel trilogy.
Yeah.
Right? So I think probably what Filoni was thinking of at the time correlates with a lot of what the sequel trilogy was building on. Because a lot of what we have from Ahsoka is that same idea, right? So I would expect Filoni to continue to build upon those ideas.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I also want to...
Because even Dooku in Tales from the Jedi, even Dooku... the light side version of Dooku's choices would be finding his own path as opposed to joining the Sith, right? Like, if you were to make a light side Dooku, that would be his path.
They do say like Mace Windu says in the prequels, like Count Dooku was once a Jedi, not he currently is anymore.
Right,
yeah.
And for me, I think that Ezra, just like Ahsoka, can't be a Jedi because we do have Yoda saying to Luke, "When gone, I am the last of the Jedi.
Right.
Will you be?" And if Ezra's a Jedi, that makes Yoda a liar, which I kind of think he is, which we can get into today. I don't know when you want to have that segment.
I would just say it's like a white lie. It's like a little bit of motivation of like, Luke,
I don't know.
get your
There's an
shit together because you're the last one. You gotta, and it's really, I think it's kind of like a motivational tool to get Luke.
Frank, I won't take that bullshit.
There's a powerful line.
There is an awful lot of gaslighting coming from the mouths of Obi-Wan and Yoda.
But let's also remember that we should not also be so beholden to words spoken in 1983 that we gotta adhere to this because we can't. That means we can never have any other Jedi.
No, no. It means we can't. It means we can't have any active Jedi during the time of the Galactic Civil War. They have to either be dead, presumed dead, or missing.
So, okay, you're talking about the Jedi Order. That's really what
right.
So there's nothing about being a light-sided force wielder, right?
No, because what Yoda says does not invalidate Ahsoka because Ahsoka does not view herself as a Jedi. If Ezra is MIA...
I mean, yes, technically Ezra is not a Jedi because he's never in the Jedi Order and never indoctrinated into that order. But I would still consider him a Jedi.
Disagree on that point.
That Ezra is it or isn't a Jedi?
I would say that Ezra is indoctrinated as a member of the Jedi Order by the episode that takes place in the Lothal Temple.
I guess.
So,
okay.
But that being said, Yoda might not necessarily know Ezra's alive.
That's not
right,
yeah,
and that's my point. Right, it's either Yoda's a liar.
What if
sometimes
look
which we can get into whenever you want.
I think that's a full topic for another episode because that'll be a fun topic to do a full episode, and we got too much on this.
But we can't touch on that before we get into the news. I do want to go back to that bit that Brian is talking about.
Well, who's Brian?
Did I say Brian?
You said Brandon.
Speaking of guys, Brian Ward made these wonderful shirts.
Not this one. This one's from Old Navy. Sorry.
This one's from H&M. I don't know what that was. That sounded like a droid.
Oh, but one other thing I did want to say about Rebels before we stray too far off of Rebels and move on to some other stuff.
Too far from Rebels, forever will it dominate your destiny.
Oh my gosh. You got to watch Rebels. Here's why. Because Rebels is becoming sort of like this linchpin in my estimation for all the other shows that are coming out now because you look at Rebels and you look at Andor, right? There's
Mandalorian.
The Mandalorian, Ahsoka coming out, right?
Bad
Batch. I mean, there's like it's tied to all of this stuff.
Jedi
and
out.
Brandon still hasn't watched it. It's crazy.
Star Wars Jedi Survivor it just hinges on no, it doesn't. Never mind.
But you know what I'm saying? Like it's so important to what's going on in Mandalorian with the Mandos and
the
Sabine,
true Mandalorians. Yeah,
the true yeah.
I got it. Darksaber.
I mean, like all of this, it's still built.
It's got to be one in combat.
Well, I mean, watch Rebels. There's combat, but then there's also a point when there's not combat.
I know like little nuggets of information,
but you haven't seen it, Brandon.
Like Bo-Katan had it like
she had it
given to her. She didn't really earn it, and then it just like ruined everything.
Right,
and then she's like, I have to earn this.
Yeah.
And so that when Din offers it to her, she's like, I ain't doing this again.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, you
Yeah,
got it.
you got it. You nailed it. Nailed
But you
it.
still should watch it. There's a lot of good stuff in there.
But you don't
Trials
know-
of the Darksaber, it's so great. The Purgle episodes really pay off, not just filler, as some people would lead you to believe. Really great payoff with that. Zeb and his whole people, that's very fascinating.
That does tie to Jedi Survivor.
What's the deal with the Bendu?
The one in the middle.
Oh, Bendu is
He's the
so
one in the
Bendu
middle.
is a fascinating character that you
All right.
really should explore.
Have you watched Doctor Who?
No.
Okay. Imagine then.
End of conversation.
Imagine then if you took Doctor Who and put him in Star Wars.
Well, they did.
They tried, but then he got cut from The Rise of Skywalker. It's a whole thing.
Well, no, the Bendu is also Doctor Who.
Troy Baker.
No.
No. Why? That's not.
Troy Baker
That's
is
the wrong
Troy
guy.
Baker
That's wrong.
is the voice of Joel in The Last of Us. Who I'm excited to say will be in The Last of Us TV show.
Okay. See,
Not
that's where I
as-
was going.
Not as Joel.
That's why we were talking about Last of Us earlier.
He's not playing Joel.
God.
And the actress that plays Ellie, Ashley Johnson, will be playing Ellie's mother in the show.
Man, that's fun.
And both of them will appear in Critical Role Season 2, premiering in January, which I'm going to get Frank to watch because I think he'll really enjoy it.
Oh. Okay.
Along with Cheech Marin and
Fun.
whoever else I said earlier. Anyways, Tom Baker,
Tom Baker.
the fourth Doctor.
I said it so confidently. That's the embarrassing
Baker.
part. That's the embarrassing part.
Tom Baker,
Yeah.
not to be confused with D. Bradley Baker,
No,
who's
there's
also in the show.
All these Bakers.
Tom
Which
Baker,
of the Bad Batch does D. Bradley Baker voice?
Yes.
Yes, exactly.
Tom Baker plays the Bendu. The Bendu is this sort of.
He's like a.
Like a moose?
I mean, kind of
He's
looks
a
like
moose.
one.
He's like, you know what we don't really get a
Force moose.
We don't really get a confirmation on what he is. He's sort of a force being, whether or not
He is a force being. Yes.
whether or not he exists in the material world.
He does.
But like, I don't know if he's a projection like the father, daughter, and brother,
No, I
right?
What do you mean by projection?
Well, okay, so you haven't finished Clone Wars either yet?
No, I'm familiar with these characters,
Oh my
but like I don't know how deep it goes.
So
it goes pretty deep.
because like the father, daughter, and brother are not like they're not living, breathing things. They're sort of deific avatars. They're divinity, right? Like they're closer to.
They're in Clone Wars. They're in Rebels. Well, to an extent.
But they're closer to like a pagan idea of divinity, of gods, than they are to like living people, right? They're not immortals necessarily. They are, they exist on a higher plane of existence.
Seems like a lot. Seems like they could never pull that off in live action.
No.
I feel like
no.
it would like detract.
Yeah.
I was
from-
thinking about the world between worlds in Ahsoka. Like,
I don't know.
could
I
they
think,
do
they
it?
could try.
I do think they could do the world between worlds justice in live action.
Yeah.
Because I think it would. I'm not saying I want
I
it.
do feel like we're going to go there just based on some of the art, the
Oh,
Ahsoka
interesting.
art.
Okay. I haven't really looked too far into it, but like I don't.
Or at least the title card rather that they released like really early on.
Okay. Yeah, because it's kind of got that.
Give me
Yeah,
that vibe.
I'm not saying that I want them to go there, but I'm saying that it would look really badass if they did that in live action, or even in like.
I mean, that's perfect for the volume. Not gonna lie.
I would love to see it in a video game.
That'd be really great. I want to explore more of the world between worlds aspect. I do think we might get some of that in Ahsoka. I think it would look great in live action, just purely because you would definitely film it in the volume, and I think that would be really, really cool to.
And it's just such a cool,
beat her to shoot that.
It's just such a cool scene.
Yeah, there's a lot
Like,
of great stuff.
It's almost a love letter to Star Wars in that one scene in a way.
Oh yeah, because you're hearing all these lines
Yeah.
and scenes from
do you think-
the entire saga. Yeah.
Do you think Luthen would crap his pants if he ended up in the world between worlds? This was not in my equation.
I think he'd feel condemned to use it.
Yeah, I think that's the
I'm
thing,
condemned to use the tools of whatever the hell this is.
But that stuff.
Well,
is really
I don't
interesting,
think
so-
I don't think. Hold on,
He'd go back in time and kill baby Palpatine.
but if hold on,
he would.
if
so
I'm right,
strangle him.
if I'm right, and Luthen was a temple guard,
He's not. I don't think so.
I don't think he would be overwhelmed. He might have a crisis of faith, right? Because he's clearly rejected the Jedi Order.
It would be so. Look, first of all,
He would have gotten caught.
I just can't. I'm not
can't?
going to be I'm not buying into Luthen was once a Jedi.
But you're not
and
as against it as you are other theories
I don't think
that other hosts of the show would bring up.
I think he's definitely Snoke.
Luthen is Snoke, right?
Luthen, Snoke, they shared
I
two
do
letters.
hope, because he's like an artifact collector, I want to see him whip out a lightsaber next season.
I do think it's possible.
That would be dope.
Yeah.
I love the concept of artifact collection and Star Wars, because in Bloodlines they have this really interesting take, and this was also in Duel of the Fate script. In Bloodlines you have the I forget what they call the two factions in Bloodlines, but essentially the conservative faction in Bloodlines, a lot of them collect Jedi, Sith, and Imperial artifacts, from a historical and curiosity perspective. So it's really interesting that we're getting that presented in an earlier era with Luthen on the other side, right? And Duel of the Fates, we were going to find out that
What's his face?
What's his name?
Was a fanboy.
Hux?
Hux, yeah.
That Hux was the same thing. He collected a bunch of Sith artifacts and Imperial artifacts.
So a lot of like the Jedi Purge and all that like parallels the events of World War II.
Mm-hmm.
And so like Palpatine like does his best to like eradicate any semblance, remembrance of the Jedi even existing at all. So like you get to a point where like Han Solo's like, yeah, I don't believe in that crap. Because like why would he?
Yeah.
But how does Luthen have a Jedi Temple guard mask like just on sale?
Well, that's the question, right?
How many people have ever seen
How would the
Temple
Empire
Guard?
how would the
Man,
Empire
you know.
allow that?
Well, that's the other question too, and I think what Frank's about to say, I'm gonna go ahead and steal it from him. How many people know what a Jedi Temple Guard looks like, right? Because they are, we don't know.
You would have to be you're basically only Jedi Force wielders.
Not
can get into
necessarily,
those
because it is
temples.
It is possible that they had them like stationed at the front gates, but even if they did, right, it's not like probably 1 in 20, 1 in 30 Americans have been to the Capitol, right? Like, how few of the galaxy, even how few of the people on Coruscant,
that's true,
have been to the Jedi Temple, right? So whether or not
you can play the numbers game in terms of
you can play the numbers game and say like, hey, whether or not anyone notices what that is, but also at the same time, they probably didn't eradicate everything, because they would have had record of other temples that they didn't necessarily destroy, other sites that they didn't necessarily destroy.
And there are other sites,
right?
as we've seen in other properties.
Well, yeah, I mean the temple complex at Yavin, depending on the source, is either a Sith or a Jedi temple.
I mean, like Palpatine has a bunch of places around the galaxy that it just has crap in it,
right?
So,
and
that gets and that type of stuff gets looted after the fall of the Empire, right? Speaking of, actually, I finished playing Battlefront 2 again, the campaign.
Well, hold on, before you do that, I do want to talk about that. But the other question we can throw at Luthen's shop is whether or not the items in there are meant to be in there for actual significance to the story or the character of Luthen, or whether or not they're there for our satisfaction, right? Because in my opinion, the fact that we have the fertility idol, the whip, and the Shankara stones in there proves that the items in there are not there for canonical significance.
Yeah.
They're there for Easter egg significance, right? They're there to look cool.
Yeah. E.T.'s not in the Senate because...
Well, but...
He's definitely in the Senate.
I'm saying, like, they didn't put E.T. in the Senate just because to make him, like, hey, this species is now in Star... I mean, you easily could, but it's just like...
vote no.
That's good.
That's what
but the same could be said for Doc Ondar's shop at Disneyland.
Okay.
Doc Ondar's Stand of Antiquities at Disneyland, which is the antique shop that you could buy the legacy lightsabers at. You can buy the holocrons. You can buy a bunch of really cool shit there
for a lot of money.
Some of it's a lot more reasonably priced, but yeah, the lightsabers, for example, are way too expensive, and they're not that great quality. Don't buy those. Find reproductions online. If you want to buy one, talk to me. I'll direct you to some places. The items in that shop, I mean, you have Din Djarin's helmet. Like, you have a bunch of stuff that is canonically significant, and yet that is a canonical location.
Right.
So-
Din Djarin's helmet's in there. Does that mean he's dead now?
Does that
Like-
mean Din's dead?
But he's
Right,
also
right.
walking around.
Right, exactly. So at a certain
a
point,
ghost.
At a certain
It's
point, you
cosplay.
have to remember this is an entertainment franchise, and
Yeah,
you
yeah.
do kind of have to suspend your disbelief as far as what
No.
items are. No, no, I refuse.
I actually think that after the events of Return of the Jedi, Han Solo went into the world between worlds, ended up in 1930s Earth,
you know there's a-
changed his alias to Han
you know there's a
to
comic about
Indiana
this.
Jones.
Do you know there's a comic about this?
What's it
So
called?
I don't remember.
Okay.
but it's an old comic, and it's
That's fun, though.
Han and Chewie crash on Earth, and then 200 years later, Han's descendant, Indiana Jones, is looking for
Oh my god.
is looking for
That's funny.
Bigfoot.
That is great. That is great.
So
And
there-
Chewie's just been roaming
yeah,
the
Chewie's
Pacific
just,
Northwest.
Yeah, Chewie's just roaming the Pacific Northwest.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
Could you imagine Chewie like in that shot, the famous
Oh
Bigfoot
yeah,
picture?
yeah. So yeah, I was gonna say I replayed the campaign in Battlefront 2.
That's a good. I should do that.
And look, I even tweeted this too. It's a very fun game. I like the gameplay. The campaign, it's not that long, and sure,
It's so great.
and that can be a point of criticism, sure, but
But they did add a second
they
part
did
to it.
the Resurrection DLC, and I really just enjoyed the simplicity of the story. It puts you in the Star Wars world. Iden Versio, I liked her story. Yes, it's a bit of a redemption type of story. And people were like, "Oh, why is an Imperial defecting?" Well, that happened a lot in the galaxy, and
Yeah.
and we get those stories because they are interesting, and I like what they did with her character. And they introduced one of my more recent favorite characters in Shriv. Shriv is
Well, I like Shriv. I like
so great.
I also really like Del and Hask.
Yeah, Del,
Like-
and Hask. The Operation Cinder was a really cool twist on what happens after the Battle of Endor, after the second Death Star blows up. The Resurrection DLC, you get introduced to Iden, and Del had a kid, and Kay, I think is her name, or May, or something like that.
I don't remember. That's who
and-
you play in the DLC, right?
No, you still play as Iden.
Okay.
You play as Iden, but Iden's, it leads right into The Force Awakens, like the ending shot. Spoiler alert: is you're on, are you on a dreadnought? Or you're on a First Order, Star Destroyer.
I don't remember.
But you see Starkiller Base explode from their point of view, and that's
Really?
how that's
That's
how
cool.
So it's very cool. It's very cool.
I do remember how great the Jakku missions were, though.
Yeah, that ends the initial campaign,
Yeah.
the Battle of Jakku, and Iden, tries to rescue her father, and it's
Yeah.
very Star Warsy in that sense,
And that was also the canonization of the. What is the name of that Star Destroyer? I cannot remember.
Ooh. Yes, damn it.
The Imperial Raider.
Imperial Raider.
That's the model of Star Destroyer
Okay.
that Inferno Squadron uses. I don't remember the name.
that starts with a V, I think. I just finished this game the other day, but I can't. It's not
Is it-
Vardos. Vardos is
Vardos
Iden's
is the
home
planet. Yeah,
The Ven.
it's not the Vengeance. There's no.
No, the
way.
Ven. I can just look it up because power of the internet.
But so the
gonna
Imperial
bother me.
Raider, the Imperial Raider is a super interesting ship because it was designed for a board game called Star Wars X-Wing, and it's sort of like a Warhammer style tabletop battle game. And when the game first launched, it was like you could play as X-Wings and Y-Wings and A-Wings and the Falcon versus the TIE,
Corvus.
the Corvus.
Cool ship.
Versus TIE fighters and TIE bombers and the Slave One and the Imperial Shuttle, right? So that was kind of your core lineup of ships for the two sides when it opened, and they slowly expanded it out. Eventually, they made epic scale ships for that game, but because the ships are only this big, your epic scale ships, you can't get a full Star Destroyer, so the Rebels got the CR-90 Corvette and the GR-75 transport, so the blockade runner and the stupid bubble transports from Empire and Jedi. And then the Empire, they didn't have a ship that matched that size, right? Because the only size you have from the Empire is the Star Destroyer, which is like 20 times the size of the blockade runner, right?
Right.
So they made the Raider to be a ship that was in that Corvette size for this game. And then a few years later, Battlefront 2 was like, well, this is a dope ship. Let's make it canon. Yeah. And so it's such a bitchin' model.
Dude, it is so.
I can probably.
Frank's gonna have it right here.
I'm gonna see if I can try to get my hands on a Raider and a blockade runner for the table here.
That'd be cool.
Because
but also within Battlefront 2, the campaign, it ties into, yes, The Force Awakens, and in a sense a little bit. There's an Easter egg for The Last Jedi. There's a mission where you're playing as Luke Skywalker, and you're like, what?
Voiced by Matt Mercer.
Troy Baker.
Oh, okay. Troy Baker.
Friend of Troy Baker, Matt Mercer.
Yeah.
They are friends. Also,
and you play
friend
as
of Ken Knapsack and Christian.
You play as Luke.
I've heard of those people.
Yeah.
You know names.
You know names.
I know names.
He knows names.
You know Luke Skywalker. You've heard of
Jedi
that
Master.
guy. Yeah. And friend of Captain Solo.
Friend of Captain Solo.
You play as Luke Skywalker, and you
Jedi Knight.
That's right.
And friend of Captain Solo.
And Anto Krieger.
Oh. And Andor Reviews. You go, you find one of Palpatine's like vaults, and and you see Luke basically get the map to God
Luke.
Not that Luke. You see Luke get basically the map to Octo, right? And you see that little compass basically in The Last Jedi in Luke's hut.
Yeah,
there's a shot of it. And you can see it, which is a cool nugget.
First shows up in the Legends of Luke Skywalker.
Does it?
Book? Yeah.
Oh, cool. Oh, yeah.
Tells how him and Max von Sydow, what's his name?
Lor Santeca.
Schmodown. Get the. That was my first.
Well, also
was my first Schmodown question.
Really?
Was who played Lor Santeca?
That's an easy question.
Yeah.
There's also actually in the Force
Probably got it
there's
wrong.
at the end of the campaign you play as Kylo going through this fever dream, and because he's looking for Skywalker obviously, and Del is someone who's been in contact, who had contact once upon a time with Luke and knows what was in that vault, and Kylo runs into Del and he's like, where's that map? And Del finally gives up information that Lor Santeca, is in possession of the map, and so it ties into Kylo looking for Skywalker, and it's so
how old you
so cool, and you get to fight as Kylo, and it's just it's just fun.
Happened to you.
What?
Something far worse has happened to you.
He's quoting Lor Santeca.
He's gonna start quoting the whole movie as we talk.
I forget who it was. Someone the other day was recommended we get a soundboard for the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
And you said, we have a soundboard. His name's Brandon.
Yeah. It's never more truer than right now.
Almost.
So,
That's a sound.
So that's
the sound.
So that's the stuff that I've been playing, consuming, watching as of late.
Yeah, I mean, I just replayed Fallen Order recently.
Nice.
To get ready for the game. The new one, but I really, now that you say that, I really want to go back.
And you can play the Battlefront 2 campaign's 8 hours maybe.
Yeah.
So
the problem with Fallen Order,
not even maybe.
This is one of the problems that I have with Fallen Order, and it's not a bad problem to have, right?
With Fallen Order or Battlefront?
With Fallen Order.
Okay.
It's not a game that you can kind of stop. You have to finish it.
You do.
Right?
You do.
Because if you are midway through that campaign, you take a break and come back to it, you've forgotten how to play that game. And so much of it depends on timing and reflexes and all.
It's so puzzle based oriented, and it's just if you stop in the middle of one of them, you might as well just start over again because you'll be lost.
But I fucking love that game. I love the characters. I still get anxiety and excited thinking about the Malicos boss battle. On Dathomir.
Oh, yeah.
Pronounced Malistaire. Very fast, very dangerous.
Well, that's the problem with Malicos, too. He's very fast and very dangerous.
He's easy.
Brandon, I wish there was a way we can get you to speed run that game and just digest it, because it's so fucking
Someone's got to
good.
have the story on YouTube, and I just watch it on double speed.
I mean, it's there. It's there. You can do it. Because I think you would I can't remember the name of what's the name of the pilot?
Oh, I want to say it starts with an M, but that could be wrong.
You would
Rigali.
Burgali, yeah. Well, he looks like an Ardinian, but he's not.
Oh, why can't
You ever been to an Ardinian Minoc roast?
Very fast, very dangerous.
Very fast, very dangerous.
Jill needs me to open the gate.
You can open the gate from here.
I can't.
Wow.
What
I
is
feel like
his
there's like a Lord of the
nerd?
Rings quote in there somewhere, but I don't want to get too far off base.
We're already pretty far off base today. That's
go.
fine.
Open the gate, quick! That's when Aragorn shows up, I think.
No, I think it's when
When Faramir is dragged by his horse.
yeah, it's when Faramir is being dragged by his horse. Yeah, through Pelennor.
Yeah, that's true. I think. I don't know.
Yeah, because when Aragorn shows up,
He just shows up.
yeah, in the movie when he shows up, he just shows up and they kind of storm the field with the ghosts. And in the book,
I figured it out. Sorry, it just came to me. It's when the elves show up at Helm's Deep. Because then it's immediately followed by...
Yeah, you're right. Okay, we're both wrong.
I don't believe it. That is why you fail. See, I just combined two quotes from two different franchises. Like
Is it
this.
Grease?
Grease.
Grievous.
Grease.
General Grievous has
Yeah,
been
you would
destroyed.
like Grease.
Grease is great.
Grease would be up there for your favorite Star Wars characters. I know.
Really?
Yeah. He's kind of like a scummy New Yorker.
Hey, I'm in the hyperspace lane here.
Think of John Kaiser if he had 4 arms and was a shitty pilot.
Damn.
Well-
yeah.
I've been trained in the Jedi arts by Count Dooku.
Yeah.
What I think there was something else.
That was my
that-
General Grievous impression.
Brando, what about you? Have you watched anything?
Yeah.
Watched?
What was the last thing?
Have you had any Star Wars themed meals lately?
Star Wars
besides the holiday calendar?
my delicious chocolate with artificial flavor vanillin.
Vanilla.
Not vanilla, vanillin.
Vanillin.
Was it like melatonin and vanilla?
No, it's just what they call artificial vanilla flavor, which, despite what you've been told, only a small percentage is
I
actual
thought that was like
beaver
Nilla,
anus.
like Nilla wafers.
I don't know, they just figured out how to do it in the lab. I don't question. I just eat it.
Yeah, they figured out something
Hey,
else.
speaking of, there's a Vanilla and Ice show coming up. It's my favorite Vanilla Ice tribute.
I was gonna
band.
say it's true cover band, right? Vanilla.
That would be a clever name because they'd be artificial vanilla.
Oh man.
I haven't been consuming a lot of Star Wars, but I did make a Star Wars TikTok.
Yes.
Right. Speaking about the lies of the Jedi.
Yeah, the lies of a particular Jedi, and I was hoping I could show it to you guys here on the show. And Frank, you're gonna have to edit this.
Yeah,
in
I
for
will
the-
actually do
for
that.
the
Frank, edit
for
this
the
in.
fans,
I will actually have
for
to
the
do this.
fans to watch this, but we could pull it up on my
Frank,
handy danny.
Frank, if you could deep fake this in for us.
yeah.
Deep fake. What?
You don't deep fake?
Yeah, I know what it is, but I don't know how it applies here.
Have you heard of a deep fake?
Have you heard of a deep? You know those new AI things?
Yeah,
The deep fake things.
I don't think we're using the words correctly here. Anyways, Brandon, what do you got?
Okay. I don't know how we're gonna do this.
Here, watch. I'm gonna hold it right here.
All right, Sean, are you paying attention?
No,
And right. Okay.
It's slightly different. Yoda is a liar sometimes.
Oh boy.
In The Empire Strikes Back, Yoda exclaims to Luke that size matters not. But in Revenge of the Sith, Yoda's size makes all the difference. When Yoda and Palpatine are dueling to their fates, Yoda gains the upper hand by catching the Emperor's Force lightning and throwing it back at him. Or so we thought. The impulse created by the Force is equal and opposite to both Yoda and Palpatine, meaning they both experience the same change in momentum. Momentum is a product of mass and velocity, and Yoda's mass is 1/6 to that of Palpatine's, meaning the impulse causes him to fly roughly 6 times faster and further than it does his evil counterpart, throwing him from the battle and forcing him to retreat. Had Yoda been of comparable size to the Dark Lord of the Sith, he may have just won this battle, and the Empire would have ended before it even started.
I'm glad you brought that up.
All right. So I feel like my first response needs to be that's not how the Force works.
That's not how the Force works.
My second response is are you familiar with bigger Luke theory?
Bigger Luke theory.
Yeah.
Bigger Luke theory?
No.
It's the
Is that a supplement or what is it?
no. I'm gonna pull this up.
Yeah, that
I'm
Luke.
gonna pull this up. So
Is it like Giant Snoke in The Force Awakens?
it's kind of like Giant Snoke.
Okay.
So bigger Luke theory or the bigger Luke hypothesis often often shortened to BL or BGL,
Okay, sure.
is the premise that there are in fact 2 Luke Skywalkers.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Well, okay, go ahead. Yeah.
There's the one that we see in the original trilogy. That's our main character.
The only one, right?
And there's another one
Oh.
that's about 2 to 3 centimeters taller.
What?
Okay. According to the theory, this is regular Luke is the shorter Luke we're familiar with.
Right. Not Stormtrooper.
And the other one is bigger Luke, right? So the whole premise of the idea is that there's some shots where Luke is taller than he should be, like compared to
Okay.
Han,
Yeah.
and then it's supported by the fact that like, how is Luke able to do all this stuff in the movies? Like clearly there's a second Luke that's slightly bigger running around helping him out.
This is wholly absurd, but continue.
No, I mean that's the premise. That's the idea.
There's the whole
Hold on.
the whole
Hold on,
hypothesis
hold on,
is based
hold
on the
on, hold
fact
on.
that
Prove me wrong.
wait, hold on. So
You can't.
So you're saying
but you can't even prove it though.
so you're saying if Yoda
So what are we talking
if
about?
Yoda had a slightly bigger Yoda helping him out, he might have defeated the Emperor.
What's the purpose of this type of hypothesis?
It's true. All of it.
I don't
bigger
understand how
Luke,
someone was
bigger
like,
Luke.
I need to put this out there.
Baby Yoda.
That's
It's
so
all
bizarre.
You know,
Why? Because he couldn't swing across a chasm. He's got to be 2-3 centimeters taller to do that. Is that
That was
what
a
he's
real
saying?
stunt.
Yeah, he did really.
In 1977.
I will. I have some. Here's some lines of text.
So is this person saying?
Here's some lines of text that prove it. Right.
Oh boy.
What is the first thing that Alec Guinness says about Luke's Jedi training?
You've taken a step into
You've taken your first steps into a
a larger world.
Why is Leia so confused when she first meets Luke?
He's too short to be a
Right.
stormtrooper.
Because she expects the other bigger Luke.
Oh my
to become a
god!
saber.
She doesn't even know of Luke. She doesn't know who Luke is. This is ridiculous. Who is this person?
Bigger Luke.
No! Who's writing this?
Oh, I don't know.
I've never heard this.
How could
say in
she
my life.
expect a bigger Luke when she's never met or even heard of Luke Skywalker?
Taking-
That doesn't make any sense.
Taking your first steps into a larger world.
Because there's a no. Because once he makes that,
gonna-
once he reaches that point,
Yeah.
a second bigger Luke forms and takes a step into the larger world.
That doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make him bigger.
Oh no! But the Force.
It would actually
Hold
make
on,
the world
hold on, hold on.
smaller.
Hold
It would
on,
actually make
hold
the
on,
world smaller
hold
if
on.
he's bigger.
You're telling me this doesn't
Right?
make. You're telling me this doesn't make any sense in a franchise where they have portals to the past, a world with a weird father, daughter, son relationship where they all want to kill each other, but there's definitely some sexual tension between the son and the daughter.
Whoa.
You're telling me that in a world where they do Force Skype and they can hand lightsabers through Force Skype, that this doesn't make sense?
Yes. Yes. That's where I draw the line. You got to draw the line somewhere, Brandon, and I'm drawing it right here.
Okay, but what do you think about the physics of Yoda fighting the Emperor?
Yes, at the core.
First of all, it's surprisingly easy to figure out Yoda's weight and Ian McDermott's weight. I couldn't
Yeah.
Google Palpatine's weight, but I found Ian McDermott's weight plus or minus 10 kilograms.
At that time,
hold
when
on.
at
Can
that
you-
time,
can you give it to me in stone?
In stone?
Have you ever measured weight in stone?
No.
he says,
About 170 pounds, maybe. I can give it to
That would
you.
be like.
what would it be?
How many stones
I
is
don't-
that?
I'm not
He
good at
doesn't know.
math.
He doesn't know.
I know I weigh 16 stone.
Okay.
Well, anyways, Palpatine
Yeah.
weighs about 6 times more than Yoda does,
Okay.
which is a big difference when you have an equal and opposite force lightning ball shooting at both of them at the same time. If Yoda weighed more, he wouldn't have flown as far. He would have been dangling off the freaking Senate seat just like Palpatine was, and he'd pull himself back up and he'd finish what he started because you saw the fire in Yoda's eyes and the fear in Palpatine's eyes. Yoda had the upper hand,
Can I-
but he was was too small to do anything about it.
I don't want
and
to.
that's just physics.
First of all, Yoda was never going to win that fight. He didn't have the higher ground at any point.
Actually, he did.
Well, at one point, but then
No. So this is my argument against this is actually that he did have the higher ground.
even though he was hanging.
Well, no, but he didn't
And
start.
Palpatine was up there throwing shit down at
because
him.
Yoda was here.
Yeah.
Palps was here.
Uh-huh.
So when they fell, Yoda didn't have as much ground. Palpatine had a lot more ground backing him up.
He did, but Yoda flew further.
Right, but he still grabbed onto that side there.
I think if Yoda was the same weight or heavier than Palpatine,
Yoda would have won the fight.
yeah, Yoda. I think Yoda. If Yoda could have stayed on that platform, I think he would have won the fight. I think he had the upper hand. I mean,
You're saying he's more skilled with the lightsaber.
So
Palpatine shot Force lightning at him, and he just caught it and then smirked at him.
to clarify, what you're saying is if there is a bigger Luke, why doesn't he simply eat smaller Luke?
It would make him heavier.
Right.
It'd make him almost twice as heavy.
Frank.
yeah, I'm here.
You all right?
I'm here.
All right.
I'm here. I'm listening.
But you have to conserve the momentum.
Hey.
It's the same
Hey, Brandon.
on Palpatine and Yoda, but one is smaller, so he has to go faster.
How much of this podcast do you think is just us making Frank frustrated?
About 50 to 60%.
Okay. Do you think
that's the first true thing you said?
Do you think that?
all
I mean,
day.
I think his points about Yoda are correct, but
I think I'm onto something. So
I-
when Yoda says size matters not,
yeah, I think
full
he's,
of it.
I think he's.
If he was
lying.
bigger, the Empire would have been done. He would have killed Palpatine. Nobody would have come to save Anakin. He would have died of his wounds.
Yeah.
right there on Mustafar.
I
he
think-
wouldn't have had to hide on Kashyyyk.
I also think
Mon
Yoda.
Mothma would have become the Chancellor of the Galaxy.
I think Yoda and Obi-Wan should have went to go fight the Emperor both together.
Yeah, that's the only thing that made yes, yeah.
Double up, bro. Come on.
I don't know.
What do you mean?
I mean, Obi-Wan and Anakin fought Dooku together, and Dooku was like, all right,
Actually,
now
you know
I'm just
what?
fighting Anakin.
You know what? To that point, whenever we've seen any fight that was 2-on-1 in Star Wars,
It always becomes one-on-one.
It always
and
becomes
the
one-on-one.
Sith Lord
Yeah, that
always
happened
dispatches-
twice. Now that I think
It's
about it,
true.
that happened
Actually,
twice.
Yeah, it's true.
no,
it's true.
more than twice.
If you count the Clone Wars?
Well, no, I'm saying overall, just counting the movies.
Oh, I'm simply talking about fights with Dooku and Anakin. And
Oh,
Obi-Wan.
sure, but I'm talking about Star Wars overall.
true, too.
Star Wars overall, right? Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan versus Maul.
Right.
2v1, Qui-Gon dies.
Right.
Anakin and Obi-Wan versus
Dooku the first time. Anakin loses an arm.
Well, but first,
And
Obi-Wan gets severely
he gets
injured.
slashed. He should have died.
Obi-Wan gets severely injured, and then Anakin loses an arm. The second time, Obi-Wan gets severely injured,
Yeah.
right?
Dang, was Obi-Wan a one-hit wonder on Maul, and that's it?
Well, okay,
He scraped Vader twice.
okay, but
But I mean,
now let's
Bitch, you came back for seconds, and he smacked him in the face with his lightsaber.
let's move on, right?
I mean,
Rey and Kylo against Sheev on Exegol. Kylo dies, gets thrown down.
wait, what? He died?
Yeah, Kylo died.
What if they weren't
my
a
God.
dyad and
got-
he couldn't suck the life
He got
out
thrown.
of him?
He got thrown down a pit. Now there is one counterpoint to this,
Okay.
and that is Rey and Kylo against Snoke.
Oh,
But that's not really a
that's
fight.
it's
That's
not.
kind of an
No.
assassination,
That was
Yeah.
So-
It was awesome.
That was some trickery.
right? But every time we've had a 2v1 fight,
Dumb clone.
it has not gone well for the good guys,
That's true.
right?
So yeah, maybe Yoda was on something.
Yeah,
He's
maybe-
like, I've seen
Listen.
you with a partner in a fight, and somehow Obi-Wan, you get messed up.
Yeah.
and I ain't
I
trying
mean,
to save your life right now.
Yoda had it in the bag. He's never been. He's better. He's never been more confident in any of these movies. He literally like.
I know Dooku, he's
he
pretty confident,
shows
right?
up in Palpatine's office. Just
I
like,
mean, yeah,
throws the guards
he
against
goes
the
to him.
wall.
He does.
He goes, if so powerful you are, why leave? And then he pulls out the lightsaber. He's like, I know the Jedi's only use the Force for the knowledge and attack, but I'm gonna have a good time whooping your ass. You know what I mean?
It's gonna be a good ass whooping.
And he had him. He caught the lightning easily. He had fire in his eyes. He was like, I got you.
But
if
then
they
he-
were on flat ground,
He lost his, but he dropped
okay.
the saber, right?
Here's
didn't
my
need the
question.
saber. He
Here's
didn't
my
need
question.
it.
Do you think it? Now, I'm not discounting your theory, but I think Yoda's point with size matters not is that with enough training and preparedness, size matters not. And Yoda wasn't prepared. Obi-Wan and
He was
Anakin,
speaking about level ground.
because Obi-Wan and Anakin were the ones running around actually doing the fighting of all the Sith Lords and
That's true.
Asajj and Grievous and Maul, right? Yoda didn't fight any of those folks.
He didn't.
He fought Dooku the one time. And it was kind of a stalemate because
Dooku ran away like a little baby.
Yeah.
Because Yoda, I think the problem was Yoda was overconfident, right? Because we even get a line, if you practice your saber skills as much as your wit, you would rival Master Yoda, right? I think Yoda was held in such high esteem as a duelist that by the time of the finale of Revenge of the Sith, he was just so unprepared because he hasn't had a fair fight or a matched opponent in so long.
He was
But he
so
had
good.
him though.
I agree.
He had him.
I agree. And I'm saying,
look. Also, Mace Windu. Well, I mean,
Mace Windu went out like a bitch.
Wait. Hold on. It depends how you want to actually look at that fight. Actually, is
Lot of
Palpatine just doing
interpretations.
enough to make sure Anakin gets there to initiate the turn fully
Right.
for Anakin, or is Palpatine actually putting up a fight? As if he was going to kill Windu,
Okay.
I think
or
it
was
depends
he?
on how
you know.
deep you want to go.
I have
what I'm saying,
problem. I have a problem with that scene overall, right? Because I think Kit Fisto, Saucy Tin, and
I mean, yeah,
and
that's
the
a
other guy,
whole.
I think
Actually, someone on Twitter or I saw on YouTube did a video on this about how Mace Windu specifically went and got these other Jedi because they were the best at what they do. Like at the time around him,
Right.
were like the best, Jedi with a saber in their hand, and that's why he brought them and they went out like bitches. Like,
yeah, I don't like how
was
that.
I think, it was
I think
Mace
from what I
Windu.
understand, I think that scene, they only had so much time to shoot that scene, and it wasn't choreographed correctly. If I remember,
Oh, really?
If I could be completely wrong, but I do remember hearing this at some point.
Seems like a weird scene to skimp out on,
I agree, and that's my issue, right? Like,
Yeah.
like I would rather have more weight in that scene and a little bit less weight in the Battle of Heroes at the end, right? Or a little bit less weight in because there's so many lightsaber fights in that movie.
Yeah, it's great.
Not a bad thing. I love it.
It was great.
But that one lightsaber fight is one that I think could have been so. It's such a missed opportunity for me, and this is I hold Revenge of the Sith in such high esteem.
Yeah.
But that's probably my least favorite scene in that film because of what it could have been. And I think
I think that if you extend those fight scenes with Palpatine,
Yeah.
Windu, and it rivals Empire.
Master
It would
Yoda as a swordsman.
Yes, it would rival Empire as the greatest Star Wars movie.
I think it does.
I still think it's up there with
Yeah,
that
I
personally,
think-
but I think I would have such a hard.
I love
time,
Revenge of the Sith.
I
I think if you if you read the novelization of Revenge of the Sith, Palpatine's
Yeah.
actually moving a lot quicker than he
Right.
appears to be. He's actually just lightning fast, and that's why he just takes him out.
Sure.
In 0.2 seconds. And I don't know how nerdy you want to get or how much this is canon, but apparently Mace Windu was supposedly his lightsaber fighting style, channels dark side energy or something. And that's why he was able to put up a fight against Palpatine.
So it's not canon anymore,
Mm-hmm.
but they do go pretty heavy into that in Legends. He practices Vapad, which is
Vapad?
Vapad.
I don't know.
I think it's Form 7 I think it's Form 7. I remember I have the shadow.
Who came up with these forms, by the way? I don't think George Lucas ever signed off on any
no.
forms.
A bunch of fucking sci-fi authors trying to write Star Wars came up with it. No shame to them because I love a lot of the stuff in Legends, but a lot of the stuff in Legends tries to sci-fi up Star Wars more than it deserves. But
So Vapad.
yeah, Vapad or
Vapad.
Vapad or whatever. VAAPAD.
Vapad. There's 4 different ways you could say it.
Vapid. I think this whole discussion is vapid though. So let's talk.
But he do we know if he could have actually beaten Palpatine?
No. I don't think so at all. I don't think so at all.
I mean,
Because I think
he didn't beat Dooku. Dooku out-strategized him, basically. He out-forced him, if you will, by
Wait, no. Your question is that
Yeah.
you're
Mace
asking
Windu.
if Mace could have beat.
okay.
No, I don't think so.
But no,
I think
Yoda
so.
could have beaten Palpatine if they were either on flat ground or if Yoda weighed 6 times more than he did. Or more. He could have weighed 7 times more. 8,
or
maybe 9.
was just a little better prepared.
He was pretty prepared. He caught the lightning with his bare hands and
because-
smiled as he did it.
Here's the thing, right?
He was so prepared.
Here's the thing. He never took a fatal blow in that fight. He just fell down and got winded.
He's 900 years old.
Right. And if he was better
Minus
prepared,
19 years.
Right.
Actually, about like
About
23.
21, 23,
21,
yeah.
22, 23.
Yeah.
24? 25?
We're 900 years old. You reach you also get tired falling from Senate building.
But if it was flat ground or he was bigger, he wouldn't have fallen that far.
Look, maybe Yoda should have eaten his Wheaties. That's all we're saying.
And how strong are this man's fingernails?
Oh, real strong.
They really
mean,
took a chunk out of
He's
that.
been
Yeah.
growing them a real long time.
Yeah, George had said.
How amazing would that continuity be if we saw the Senate chamber when the scratch marks were still there? In like Andor?
George had said, I don't want anyone talking about like what species Yoda is or what planet he's from, but make sure everyone remembers that his species has really strong fingernails. Okay, it's very important. It's very important. We all need to remember that. Yoda, if he talks backwards, he's got long fingernails. They're very strong.
I've never heard this. You have a pretty good George impression.
I told you it's Kermit the Frog, just a little different.
George Lucas here. Miss Piggy.
George Lucas.
Oh my god. Do we want to get into some news here?
Yeah, where do we want to start?
Copyright, trademark. I don't know if I could say that.
We can. They're not gonna. No one's gonna come after us.
Let's start with Mandalorian. Well, actually, let's start with
Let's
Bad
start
Batch.
with Mando because
Mando?
it's kind of a light topic, right? We just have a release
that's
date. We don't
yeah.
really have much.
Yeah,
else.
March 1st is the release date, which would be about 5 episodes left of Bad Batch. 6 episodes of Bad Batch left because the finale of Bad Batch is a 2-episode finale. So that's on March 1st. Is Mandalorian, and it's going to run. I don't think it says here actually. No. But I think it's gonna wrap up just before Celebration. So however many episodes that's gonna end up being in total. It's crazy because I remember seeing the trailer at Celebration initially for Mando season 3, and man, that was incredible. Just some of the shots that we were seeing. You're seeing them going back to Mandalore, Grogu, more Mandalorians. I mean, it was phenomenal stuff. And they eventually released that trailer, or like a version, like a 99% version of that
I think
trailer.
you're forgetting the most important part, Frank.
On YouTube. What's that?
Babu Frick.
Babu Frick, yes. That's
Frickin' hell.
Hey,
Babu.
Is that actually Babu Frick or just a species?
We don't know.
I think it's Babu Frick.
We don't know for sure.
Why would it not be?
Well, because there could be more than one of.
No.
What
There's
what
only one Babu
species?
Frick.
What species is Babu Frick?
He's
Do you remember? I don't remember.
yeah, that species.
Yeah.
I think it's, I'm trying to. I have
Yeah, I
this,
don't know. I forget what species, but
I want to say Dracelian, but that's not right.
Blank.
But I'm really excited about Mando coming out. I mean, it's not that far away. It's like 3 months, guys. I mean,
We're very close.
It's
well,
so
I
close.
think by the time I would have to go look, they released the Bad Batch episode list, but I think by the time
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
done with Bad Batch, I think it's practically Mando
When's
time.
when's the Babu
So-
batch come out?
Babu Batch.
Yeah.
by time when Mandalorian comes out, it'll be episode 11 of season 3.
Oh, so
Or
we'll
ep-
still.
episode 11 of Bad Batch.
So we'll have them.
They're going to
There's
run
gonna
together
be
for
overlap?
Yeah, they're
Oh
overlapping.
my god.
For the month of March, it'll be overlapping.
Oh, wow.
I can't take that.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome, which I cannot wait to spend 2 hours.
You guys ready for 3-hour episodes?
Man, yeah, it's going to be
What's our analytics? How many of you sign up after the first 25 minutes?
So yeah, Mandalorian season 3, and it's interesting. I saw, or was I listening to Force Center or another podcast talking about how each season has had kind of like a reveal, whether it's Luke or Ahsoka. What's season 3 gonna like cameo reveal? You know, like is it gonna be Thrawn? Would it be something that ties to the Ahsoka series?
Well, okay. So refresh my memory. It's been a while. I haven't gone back and rewatched Mandalorian in a bit.
yeah,
Gideon's still alive, right?
correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's coming back, baby.
Say it. Say his line.
Dark Troopers. The Dark Troopers. I can't get it just right, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know where you're going with it.
Dark Troopers.
Yeah, I.
The Dark
think-
Troopers.
I think Thrawn's a good guess,
Right? Because they've already name dropped him.
Yeah. Here's the problem, right? If we're trying to up the stakes every time, I don't know that you up the stakes more than Luke Skywalker.
True.
Jar Jar
Right.
Binks.
Dude. A Jar Jar.
Jar Jar meets
I would-
Grogu. That would be
Oh
the
my
greatest
God.
episode in the history of
Do you
television.
know the fate of Jar Jar?
He like becomes like a clown,
like
basically.
a clown on Naboo.
Yeah, like entertaining like refugees or something.
Yeah.
like,
So I wouldn't mind if so. Okay.
so everyone
Here's-
hates him.
So based on that, here's my pitch.
I mean, we could see Sabine.
No. You need to hold on. Here's
Seriously,
my pitch.
greatest episode in the history of television.
Yeah. Here's my pitch. Din hires Jar Jar
Okay.
as a babysitter.
Oh my gosh.
Amazing. He's like, hey, little,
What
I gotta drop you off at Naboo.
Or better,
be
he
back.
goes, hey kid, we don't know when your birthday is. We're gonna celebrate your birthday. I got you this clown.
I got you a clown.
Hello, boy. You're looking just like Master Yoda.
Oh my god.
He's my friend.
Incredible.
He's dead because Asa gave emergency powers to the Supreme Chancellor. Whoopsies.
I would like to see Sabine. I'm actually a little disappointed we haven't seen Sabine in The Mandalorian, just because
It'd be great because she does tie into everything that's going on. In
well,
Mandalore,
and so
you know?
much of her plot line and character development in Rebels is based on Mandalorian. Like
Yeah.
it's based on her grappling and embracing and her struggles with Mandalorian culture and her struggles with her betrayal of her people. So I think she would work so well in The Mandalorian. I think that her plot line is central to the struggle in Mandalorian, which
Yeah.
I always see The Mandalorian as a struggle between two. It's a cultural struggle, right? It's a struggle between two opposing sides of the same cultural coin. It's like, Lutheranism and Catholicism in
Lutheranism.
Lutheranism in the
Writing
same-
an equation. Every
in
Sunday.
the 1400s, 1500s, whatever.
Of a sunset
whenever
you'll never
Martin
see.
Luther nailed that thing to the church. But I think that is the most important struggle in that show. And this season definitely seems like they're continuing that based on what we saw in Book of Boba Fett with him fighting Paz Vizsla and his struggles with the armorer and having to redeem himself after revealing his helmet or revealing his face. It does seem like they're leaning pretty heavy into that Mandalorian culture struggle. I fear that Sabine's participation in the Ahsoka show as a character will detract that facet from her character.
Yeah.
Especially considering from what we know on Rebels, it does seem like after the death of Ezra, she does kind of go to become the protector of, disappearance of Ezra. Does sort of go on to be the protector of Lothal in his stead.
Yeah.
Meaning she hasn't been involved in the struggle of her people. Kind of bugs me based on the character development that was set up previously, through the previous couple seasons, right? Like her embracing the Darksaber, her giving up the Darksaber to Bo-Katan. I mean, she is one of the, 3 or 4 surviving Darksaber wielders?
Right. That's what I was going to say. Like, besides, like,
And
Moff Gideon and Sabine are the only ones who win it in combat that we know of.
Did
Right?
she?
Wait,
Yeah, she took it off of
of Maul?
Saxon.
we
Well,
we
of
know
course
that
that's-
Moff Gideon won it in combat.
Yes.
He had to because he was part of the purge.
Yeah.
On Mandalore.
We assume
yeah.
he
Well,
won
he
it.
might have not done it honorably, I guess. You
Yeah,
could say.
he may have dishonorably won it through combat, but won it through combat nonetheless.
Yeah.
I thought maybe he just stole it.
I mean,
Sure, but he would have led he would have led the conquest and the
point is,
genocide
he
on Mandalore.
took it from Bo-Katan.
Yeah.
So, honorably or dishonorably, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't really know. I don't think we know that.
No.
But Sabine is really the only Mandalorian that we know of. Well, it would have to be actually.
Well,
at
Din-
this point.
Din
Would be
did-
the- oh yes. Well, he's. It depends on what you define as a Mandalorian. You know what I'm saying?
So this is a whole topic
Yeah.
that I would love before Mandalorian comes up. I would love to talk to you about what is a Mandalorian
We go to Mandalorian 101.
because
yeah.
I don't have time enough to discuss that here.
This is
Yeah,
the
yeah.
way.
But
Enough said.
But-
That's it. He just explained it all. He said this is the way.
but see that's
the way.
I don't agree with that.
I have spoken.
That's the problem is I don't agree with that line of this show kind of introduced these sort of like quotables for Mandalorian culture.
Sure.
And like to kind of make it cool in the same way that like, Game of Thrones does with the houses, right? Giving you these fire and blood or winter is coming, whatever. These catchphrases for these cultural, these actual well fleshed out cultural pieces of world building, right? The Mandalorians are so well world built throughout Rebels and the Clone Wars, not to mention the Karen Traviss stuff that predates it, and the stuff from Republic Commando that predates it, the stuff from the Jango Fett comics that predate it. All that stuff is pushed over to Legends now.
Star Wars Bounty Hunter game, PlayStation 2.
Yeah, also
Sick.
had some of that in there.
Got that on my PS4 if you ever want to play it.
Hell yeah.
All of that builds up a certain point of view of the Mandalorian culture, and this show, at least in season 1, does a good job to say, ignore that, look over here, this is what we're going to talk about, right? And then season 2 does a good job of saying, wait, no, those of you that have watched and seen and read all of that still matters. This is a cult, right? So
Cool.
I would
He's
say
excited, folks.
I would say that Din is absolutely a Mandalorian.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think so too. But
Especially because I think that's the struggle of his character, is his struggle to embrace his culture, and most likely the struggle to bring these disparate groups of Mandalorians together as one culture. That's
Win
most
back
like
Mandalore.
right. So that's what I think we're most likely to see out of his character from a series long perspective. Whether that's this season or next season or however many seasons this show is going to go, we don't know.
I
for
feel
sure.
like these like the Ahsoka show and like the Mandalorian. Like I feel like they're both gonna culminate in the same.
I think you're right.
Storyline.
I think you're right. And then the question also comes up with, we were supposed to have that Rangers of the Republic show.
yeah,
That
exactly.
yeah.
exactly.
That maybe that show happens, maybe it doesn't. Maybe
It will
something.
not.
Seeming
Well, I don't think
unlikely.
it will happen with the lead actress they had planned.
No, yeah,
But
but
I
I don't. Yeah, I mean, who knows?
Unless Cobb Vanth is the star.
Well, so that's the thing, right? Like you've got other characters. You know you have,
Tatooine.
you have Cobb Vanth, Carson Teva,
Yeah.
Ming-Na Wen. Like you can bring other characters into that and have them, sort of like a Defenders style show. And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
eventually it does seem like they kind of want to do the Endgame sort of thing with these series.
Yeah,
I don't know whether or not I think that's a good idea, but it does seem like that's
Yeah,
where they're
I don't know entirely what's canon with like Luke Skywalker's history between then and Force Awakens. So, but
Not
like
much.
so I'm just like kind of spitballing. What I would like to see is like a reclaiming of Mandalore, and it's Din leading all of the factions of Mandalorians alongside like Ahsoka and Sabine and Ezra and Luke.
Well,
and
from-
Grogu.
Here's
and
the problem is from what we
all these people.
from what we
they
understand,
take back Mandalore from Thrawn. That's my pitch.
Here's the problem with that. From what we know right now of Mandalore, it's not that Mandalore is under someone else's control. It's that it's just completely and totally irradiated.
yeah,
like
just
it's
decimated.
uninhabitable.
Yeah.
But they could take it back.
They can take it back,
but it's more about uniting.
or
So
even-
it'll be easier than I thought, but they still do it.
or even more so, they can do the Ragnarok thing of Asgard's not a place, it's a people.
Right, that's what it
You
really
know.
seems like. Actually, that it's more about uniting the people.
Yeah.
They keep talking about uniting.
But I do
Mandalorian.
think you're absolutely right. I would love to see that tie-in with the Thrawn and with all of the other characters involved. I don't know that those two. I don't know that that Endgame moment and the conclusion of the Mandalorian are the same or two separate things. Right. I would hope that they can find a way to make them the same and tie them in, because the Mandalorian was the beginning of this journey. So I'd like them to see that kind of tie that up in a neat bow and be
Yeah.
able to say, this was the story. That's it. We're done. Good. Let's move on.
But the
Because
initial
the MCU has struggled to do that.
sure. But the initial question was,
Oh, sure.
who else do we think could fill that cameo spot that Luke Skywalker did, that Ahsoka
I think
did?
I think we covered that.
I know, but we just talked about Sabine
Jar
and the
Jar
Mandalorians,
Binks.
but like,
Yeah, I didn't
who
mean
else do we think like? outside,
I didn't mean to be laughing during your very serious Sabine discussion, but
No, you're good.
All
You're good.
I could think about at the time was like Jar Jar Binks being there,
I know.
looking at Sabine, nudging Grogu, and going, "Pretty hot, huh?" And then Grogu just kind of looks up. I'm a baby.
Oh boy.
Okay, so
Looky.
the next,
Looky, Grogu. Pretty hot, huh?
the other.
Well, hold on, Frank. Is there anyone else you would want to see in that cameo? Because I don't know if there's anyone left for that cameo position, right? Like, I think that's kind of the issue.
Like it's gonna set up or tie into Ahsoka.
No,
Basically,
you know what? I
cameo's
got
gonna
him.
fill that role.
I got him.
What's that?
Cal Kestis.
Cal would be very, very interesting.
Because we have the live
I doubt
action,
it, but
the live action actor and the video game model look like the same person.
I mean, they are the same person.
right.
Basically,
I'm saying
right?
like we can use him.
Yeah,
you know?
we could.
Next, you can tell me Sidious and Palpatine are the same person.
Oh, don't worry, I won't tell you.
That would be really interesting because there's a lot of story that would not be filled in.
It does
you
go
know?
against my whole stance of like Cal has to be out of action or MIA. But,
Yeah, which would you think
but
about?
that's the other thing. We don't know that Yoda knows Cal is out running around the galaxy.
Exactly. I mean, yeah,
Probably
we
dies.
there's not a lot we don't know of it,
Probably
but
bites it
so
with his teeth.
that would be interesting if it was Cal. I doubt it though.
That was
It's probably
impressive.
going to be filled by someone that's going to be in the Ahsoka series, whether it's Sabine or Thrawn or Hera. I mean, that whole or maybe we get a Chopper sighting. Chopper's with
Chopper.
Ahsoka. Like
I'm trying
that'd be
to think.
pretty cool to see
'Cause right
live
now,
action Chopper.
The
in
Mandalorian
Mon
started.
Mothma.
Mon Mothma. Actually, that's
Dang,
a good one.
that would be interesting.
right. Like the or Gale Akbar.
Man, yeah.
The Mandalorian started approximately 6 years?
5. It was 5.
5 years?
Yeah.
Maybe we get Admiral Akbar.
I just said that.
No, I called him by his first name.
No, his first
government
name's
name.
Gale.
First name's Admiral.
His first name's absolutely Gale.
Gale's a woman's name.
So is Sheev.
I mean, sure.
Prove me wrong.
That's gender neutral.
Is Gale not gender neutral?
I don't know. Galen is a man's name.
All right. Well, okay. So speaking of me wanting to see more of Cal Kestis,
Yeah.
we get to see more of Cal Kestis. I think it's fun. We're getting a trailer for this show soon. We got a poster. We're getting a novel
Yeah.
not show game.
Game. Yeah.
I
game,
am
game.
so fucking excited for this game. It's March is the release.
Oh, they're looking at March 16th is as of right now, rumored the release date. It's going to be a crazy couple of months for Star Wars with Bad Batch wrapping up, Mandalorian kicking off, Star Wars Celebration, Star Wars Survivor.
We're gonna be so Star Wars Hunters is supposed to come out at some point.
Jeez. Yeah, it's gonna be. March is gonna be. The springtime is gonna be insane for Star Wars.
We're gonna be
nuts.
busy here
Very,
at Scoundrels
very
Inc.
busy because we're gonna be playing Survivor.
We're gonna be playing some
We're gonna
Survivor.
be watching.
I know
Mandalorian.
we've got plans for another big thing.
What big thing?
We talked the big thing.
We're gonna be on a big thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, we had the plans for the stuff
For Celebration.
and
yeah.
well, no.
Well, we didn't say what they were.
Well, no, the thing Kevin was pitching.
Oh, that other thing. Okay.
yeah, and I
Okay,
think
other
that
thing.
I
We have
think
plans
that
for Celebration.
yeah, we're gonna go.
Are you guys flying me to London?
We're gonna fly you to London.
Alright.
You're gonna stay with Matty Gunner.
Yeah.
Yes,
We know you're a veteran of
original
Europe.
scoundrel
He's gonna teach you
of the Force.
He's gonna teach you how to fight MMA,
Okay.
and then you're gonna fight. Who are you gonna fight? You got to challenge someone. You got to challenge another Star Wars YouTuber. Who are you challenging?
Gonna challenge Steel Wars.
Ooh, Steel Saunders.
Steel Saunders.
I don't know. He's kind of a big dude.
I know I like a challenge.
Think you can take him? And he's Aussie. He, he's
Oi,
probably
oi, oi.
got a knife.
He's probably got
Got a
that.
knife. Nah, that's a knife. But going back to Survivor, it was kind of like leaked. I don't know. At this point in time, it might not be leaks anymore. But you can get a pre-purchase bonus of the Hermit cosmetic, aka the Obi-Wan.
The Attack of the Clones / Phantom Menace lightsaber.
Yes,
which is a
Asterisk question
lightsaber
mark.
blaster.
choice.
Also, that's also a thing of note in Survivor that Cal seems to have a blaster.
He's got a blaster.
So it'd be interesting to see.
You know, that Obi-Wan lightsaber was the first lightsaber I owned.
Nice.
Really?
I do want to get one actually.
I do want one that's like legit.
Oh, no,
I
I had
wanna-
the like toy plastic, you know.
Oh, okay.
I still have the toy.
I
plastic.
used to have
I could
the
bring
battery
it.
powered dual bladed Darth
Maul,
Maul.
yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, if you look at my Twitter header, go look
Yeah.
at my Twitter header.
All right.
Yeah, go look at my Twitter
Right
header.
now?
Right, you could if you want. I mean, but also
right
for
now.
the
Did you
pre-purchase for like
were you mall for Halloween one year?
no,
Okay.
no.
In black and red face? Not in this day and age. Not in Dathomir face?
There was also, if you get the deluxe edition for Survivor, you have the Scoundrel cosmetic. Yo, what's up? And the Rebel Hero cosmetic, aka Han and Luke
Oh my
cosmetic.
God.
Okay,
Goodness.
I have a question.
Oh my God, you're dueling Luke Skywalker.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Are you going to put these on screen?
No.
This is a young Frank.
So I want to
That's
talk
me.
about these.
Wow, you're gonna put this on screen, Frank? You're gonna put this? For
No, you
everyone
just put it on screen.
Everyone
right
to
there. People
see?
can pause and look at that.
You can
There go.
pause
or
and-
you can just go to my Twitter profile and follow me.
So
at FrankieJ29.
I do want to
Yeah. Also on Hive.
minus the 2.9 actually.
I do want to talk about this. Because my initial reaction was negative to this.
Yeah, and I was like, these are optional,
Yeah.
Sean.
And then you said that. But
Positive.
okay.
But
I-
yeah, go on.
Here's
Look at the
here's
clones
my
Phantom
thing.
Menace lightsaber. Oh my God.
Here's my thing.
Yeah.
My favorite lightsaber, period, hands down, end of story, is the broken Joro Topal Cal Kestis.
That is pretty sweet.
Lightsaber.
It is
Wow.
pretty sweet.
That is
Right.
not what I was expecting you to say.
So is the lightsaber you start out Fallen Order
Yeah.
with. It looks like in this game, it's not a dual blade. He's got the cap on the bottom, which is fine. It's still a badass lightsaber. I am not interested in changing the general shape of that lightsaber to be an iconic lightsaber. One of the things I loved so much about how they did the first game, there wasn't any of that sort of canon breaking cosmetic stuff. I don't have a problem with it. The one thing I want is cool, unique costumes for Cal in this game.
Yeah.
Because in the first game, one of the
Just different colored ponchos, basically.
yeah, because in the first game, for the most part, it was just different colored ponchos, which I don't mind.
No.
I don't mind at all. But if you're going to introduce canonical costumes from other characters, I want to have cool Cal Kestis costumes. Because for me, I liked Fallen Order so much because of how immersive it was, because of how good the characters were, because of how immersive the story was.
Yeah.
So having him however much, and I'm going to make
I mean, so like you won't be changing.
I will most likely not. Well, okay. We're going to you and I talked about an episode topic this weekend that I'm very
Yeah.
excited for.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm going to make an argument that Luke Skywalker's yellow jacket that is the hero costume
Yeah.
for this game
The optional costume you can get.
is one of the best Star Wars costumes.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
And we only see it for a
And
second
we
in
only
live
see it for a
action.
second live action. That doesn't mean I'm going to change into it. Right? Because that is not Cal Kestis' costume. Now, you're totally right, right? It's optional. I don't have to engage with
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
That's totally fine. My reaction was because if they're adding that, now my expectation is that I get other cool, unique costumes for Cal Kestis. Because the first game didn't have that unless you play New Game Plus. And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
it's the Force Vision Inquisitor costume.
Yeah, which is like
Which again isn't actually canonical.
wouldn't
for-
make any sense.
Right.
Also, like why would
Right.
It's cool looking.
It's
for
cool
sure.
that it's in there, but I treat that the same as
Is it what if he was an Inquisitor?
Yeah, so at the end of the game, he has a vision where he does become an Inquisitor. So the whole plot of the first game is you're trying to hunt down a holocron that can show the location of Force-sensitive children before the Inquisition can get their hands on it.
Because Vader wants to kill more children.
Because Vader wants
He's
to kill
got
more
a thing for that.
right? So that's
Yeah,
the whole plot of the first game. And in order for him
the
to
second sister is
get that holocron, he goes through a Force vision that shows what happens if he fails, and it's him becoming an Inquisitor and, slaughtering those children. So you play through a dream sequence. It's really cool.
You know what I mean, I don't know how you could do this with this game, but because usually when you get like different costumes or skins or whatever, it's usually you can implement them in a multiplayer mode.
Sure.
You know?
I mean,
and so this game's not going to have a multiplayer mode,
I hope it doesn't. I don't need it. Yeah.
I don't even know how you would do that. Because your central character is Cal, and yeah, there are other ancillary characters that you're going to have in there. Like,
I mean, if it's some sort of verse, like let's say it was a lightsaber battle mode, like it does screw up. It does.
Like you could in Battlefront. Like
it doesn't, but it doesn't work for some of the timing on the way that combat system works, unless
what they should do is make a Battlefront 3 and put Cal in there.
Absolutely.
Come on. Let's go.
I strongly agree with that. I mean, I would love, it reminds me of the Jedi Outcast games.
Oh, yeah,
with Kyle
yeah.
Katarn, right? Like, a lot of that stuff had some of that stuff in there, and there was a really good multiplayer in there. Actually, a fucking fantastic multiplayer in there. And you could utilize a lot of that stuff there.
I've played one of those games.
Yeah, they're
Nice.
fun.
Yeah.
They're fun. They're not, they don't hold. I don't really think they hold up that well today, but they're a lot of fun.
At the time, though.
At the time, they were great. Dark
pretty
Forces, Jedi Outcasts. That whole series was great. But okay, so the one thing I will say about the Cal lightsaber, because I have, you get a chance in that game once you go to Ilum to rebuild your lightsaber.
Yeah. You just did the same thing? Did you just redo?
No, I didn't. I did tweak some parts because the parts that you find in that game are the Galaxy's Edge Savvy's Workshop
really?
part.
I know that.
All of the parts that you find in that game are the parts you can get at Savvy's Workshop to build your own lightsaber.
That's pretty cool. That's cool.
So if you own your own lightsaber that you built at Savvy's Workshop, you can recreate it in the game.
That's pretty cool.
So I prefer that as to showing, for example, the Skywalker Hero Saber or the Kenobi Saber. No matter how much I love those sabers, I like the more unique aspects of the game that they brought to it. It does make me a little worried for the first game just was so good in being, not stepping on the toes of canon, I guess. And me never having to doubt, its canonicity. That's my new word, canonicity.
Not canonicity.
No, canonicity is a state of being. Canonicity is a state of, verity. Truth or, not untruth.
Truth or darity?
So I don't know if that makes sense, what my reaction was. It wasn't necessarily that my reaction was, yeah, it's optional. I don't have to engage with it.
Yeah.
I don't have to do it. But it's more a matter of like, I have an expectation for this game because I love the first one so much.
Sure. I don't think none of this optional stuff will detract from the story.
Right, but I'm just hoping that this optional stuff being there means that there's more stuff for me to engage with.
Sure. I mean, I certainly think there will obviously be more or different types of cosmetic, clothes that Cal can wear and other skins for BD1. Which one of them, the optional one that you can, those optional skins are and costumes are from if you buy the deluxe edition.
One of them, the Obi-Wan stuff's for pre-order,
and
then the Scoundrel and Hero stuff is for
the deluxe edition. Yeah, we should get the R2 BD1 skin.
Most likely, depending on how they do it, I know a lot of games typically, well, it's kind of a 50-50 shot. Sometimes those cosmetics are still available in the game.
Yeah.
You just unlock them later.
Or like when you beat the game.
Like, so for example, for Spider-Man, the exclusive stuff when you pre-ordered Spider-Man or bought the deluxe edition of Spider-Man, you could still get those costumes in game. You just got them way later.
Yeah.
So, but one of them is R2-D2.
Yeah.
Is a BD1 skin that looks like R2-D2. And what's the other one? Is it just a rusted?
It's just a rugged,
the
smuggler rugged type of cosmetic.
Spoiler alert, BD1, my favorite droid.
Hey, look at that.
What?
Preview.
Yeah. We also have a novel.
Yes, that
which
novel.
I don't remember the title of.
I forget it as well, but it's going to come out before the game. And it explains.
It will probably explain, because from what we've seen of the game so far, granted, we're going to get a trailer and some stuff soon. We've seen a poster for the game now. Cal looks pretty fucking badass in the poster.
He does look rugged.
Some scratch marks.
He's looking like he's seen some things. Because it's like 5 years.
He hasn't shaved. Yeah,
right?
It's about 5 years.
Yeah. And the book's going to cover that time period.
But we don't have Grease or
Seer,
or Mirren in any of the material we've seen so far. They're not in the teaser. They're not in the poster. So
I mean, that's fine.
Right, but
that's only a tease.
I definitely think, but we also see the ship, which I can't remember. Man, I can't remember fucking crap from this.
The
game
Mantis.
Right now. The Mantis. Thank you. We have the Mantis is a cool freaking.
It's another
ship.
cool ship. I mean, Star Wars does pump out some cool freaking ships.
We see the Mantis crashed in the teaser.
Oh,
and it seems like no one survived.
That would be.
Right.
Oh man. I don't want this book to be like.
I don't want that.
Here goes the crew of the Mantis.
Right. I don't want that to be the case, especially because.
I don't think so.
Especially because Marin joins the crew so late in that game and kind of is set up to be like, hey, this is where we're building the story next. Is Marin
like she has a story that still yet to unfold, and I would like to play that in the game rather than read it. Which I still want to read some of her story, but I would also like to play some of her story. You know,
like Marin and Seer and Cal all kind of have this Jedi journey.
They're all on different
stages of the Jedi path for different reasons.
Very excited.
Sorry, Brando. You totally lost on this.
It's okay. I zoned out for like a solid 5 minutes just thinking about how Anakin just slaughtered all those sand people, and then Book of Boba Fett humanized them, so they're just like any other being in the galaxy, like a sentient, civilized being. Like they have little huts and communities, and Anakin just killed them all. And he got to keep his job. He wasn't canceled. Like Padme still married him.
It's true.
He was given a Jedi apprentice after doing this. Like what?
This is pretty fucked up. I should because he's done. Oh, you know what? I'm getting another prepared statement.
Oh boy, here we go.
If you've seen my movies, we talk a lot about the Sand People in my movies.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, if you listen to Force Center,
heard of them?
The recent one, I believe. Well, depending when you're listening to us. They Ken brings up Kevin's movies, KOTOR movies.
So Ken's seen his movies.
Well, actually, no. Ken actually brings this up. He says, "I kind of feel bad when he brings it up because I'm like, he's like because Kevin's done some editing work for like the YouTube channel, like the In Memoriam shorts they did and stuff. And so if you've listened to us, you've more than likely
you probably already know Force Center.
So you might already have.
And if you're listening to us and not them, like why?
Why?
Why did you choose us?
We have better.
Flattered. Thank you.
We have friends who do way better Star Wars content than us.
We're all
they don't have an advent calendar.
Holiday
calendar.
Holiday calendar. Holiday.
I feel like Resistance broadcast or Pink Milk would have an advent calendar though.
Sure. Yeah.
Or
definitely.
Force Toast maybe.
Force Toast. Yeah.
Laura, I could see Laura doing that, but they do audio only. So
you can still eat candy on audio.
Sure, but they miss the presentation.
It's called mukbang.
Sometimes the mind's eye is more powerful.
Oh, you want
splinter of the mind's eye.
It's very good. You know the title.
Yeah,
very good.
That's Legends.
Very good. You know your titles.
They're like
it's the first appearance of what concept in Star Wars?
Ooh, I know this like in the back of my head.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Somewhere.
It's become very important during the Disney era. It's an item.
It's an item.
It's an item.
Holocron?
No, but you're on the right track.
Wayfinder.
You're on the wrong track. Kyber crystals.
Kyber. I just want to really quick comment on
stars have hearts of Kyber.
The year of
I don't know why I
2020.
said it like that.
The year of 2023 for Star Wars.
You're like an Italian thing.
The dog.
Mamma mia, hearts of
It's
Kyber.
me.
It's a Kyber.
It's me. It's Chirinibwe.
Mamma mia, that's a lot of Kyber.
Here we go. Subtract like 20 minutes from that.
Okay, I looked at the runtime.
Oh, yeah,
All right.
but we're gonna start.
Bad Batch.
Yeah. So, actually, 2023. Look at here's what's coming out in 2023 for certain. Bad Batch, Mando, right? We also Jedi Survivor, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, right? Supposedly at the tail end of 2023, Ahsoka, and then supposedly somewhere in 2020, like after that, would be Acolyte, which is where I wanted to go next, real quick.
Okay, I don't know anything about this. So you brought this up. Did you hear anything about? Did you know about this? Have you heard about this?
So Acolyte.
I zoned out again.
So Acolyte has started a production recently, and Daphne Keane
who you may know as X-23.
Yeah.
was giving an interview, and she kind of gave out kind of like a synopsis, if you will.
It's a story about the Sith.
Well, we knew that.
Because this is like somewhat of a sequel to the Phantom Menace. This is at the end of the High Republic. The Acolyte takes place in that sense.
You mean a
And she
prequel
goes,
to the Phantom?
one of her, she's quoted as saying, I mean, as you know, it's set 100 years before the prequel movies, and it's kind of an explanation of how the Sith infiltrated the Jedi. It's a Sith-led story, which has never been done before. It's been really fun to film. The cast is amazing, and the director and crew are just lovely. The whole experience is wonderful, and I'm already excited for people to see it.
There's no way she's not a Sith apprentice.
That description confuses me. So the Sith infiltrated the Jedi, and the Jedi never found out about it because they go, we haven't seen a Sith in 1,000 years.
Right.
So they must have never known that they got infiltrated.
Or
what happened?
Right.
I think that's what they're gonna.
That's what the show's going to be
about,
right?
Yeah, you kind of just reset the synopsis in a different way.
I do want to talk about. There was a line in there, and I'm going to be careful talking about this because Star Wars Eclipse is a game that we got an announcement for at the Game Awards last year.
I haven't heard a lick
almost
about it.
a year ago, right?
Damn.
There's some gray area with the owner of the company that is making it, which I believe it is Quantic Dream, is kind of a shit person. So there's a campaign to black out Star Wars Eclipse, all that.
Right.
I'm not gonna. We haven't talked about how we're gonna handle it here. I have chosen not to promote the game, discuss the game, any of that.
Honestly, I don't even think that game's gonna happen. But
I'm kind of with you there, but it's still a ways away because what we saw when it was announced was just sort of hey, this is in the works, not like this is anywhere close.
Right.
So we still don't know what's going to go on there. But a lot of when that first got revealed, a lot of the visual elements for that game, and this is what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the visual elements that were depicted in that game and not promote the game itself or anything like that. But it was supposed to also be set at the tail end of the High Republic, and we have what looks very clearly like a Luke or Hulk battleship. We have shots that appear to be on Naboo. So it's very interesting that we're also getting this out of the Acolyte. I'm wondering how much those two stories are similar, related, intermingled. Well, I'm not caught up on the High Republic. I really enjoy what we've got out of the High Republic, what I've read so far. I do plan on this year getting caught up and getting into the comics for it because that's been my Achilles heel has been the comics. But it's just so interesting hearing that as a lead up to Phantom Menace because I'm wondering how much it will take the place of Plagueis in canon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there's obviously room to bring in these other Legends characters.
Mm-hmm.
I think was it Sith Lord or Plagueis is not canon, right? So there's room.
The novel is not canon.
Yeah.
Daphne Keene
Right.
is going to be
And so
Plagueis' master.
There could be
or she's going to be Plagueis.
and there could be room to.
Because, I don't know, they specifically use he, him pronouns when describing Plagueis in The Revenge of the Sith. So it gets kind of wishy-washy.
Brandon, you shouldn't assume character pronouns.
Well, I was saying I think it wouldn't be very PC of them
to cast Daphne Keene
a cis woman as a trans or man or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So it'll be interesting to see what they.
You just got woked.
It'll be interesting to see where they go in terms of what Sith that they introduce into this show.
I said that ironically, so I think I'm all right. That's a quote from Star Wars Robot Chicken, but also applies to what I said.
To be fair, I don't think that there are established Sith outside of Plagueis for that era.
Palpatine.
Only two there are.
Sure, but I would assume it. Something in my gut is telling me it will predate Palpatine by a little bit.
I mean, 100 years.
It could possibly.
Yeah.
How old is Palpatine?
That's actually.
I think.
I don't know.
From what we know from Plagueis, he's about normal human.
But the more he gets into gets to the dark side prolonged, I don't know. So it depends how they explore that if they do that.
Sure, but as far as we can tell from Plagueis, he is as old as he looks. Up until the point of Attack of the Clones.
But obviously, those stories were created and written without
in
the thought of like we're gonna expand upon this once in 25 years or whatever. So there's obviously room to play with it, and you can, because it is the Force, dark side or light. There's ways to massage how long someone can live, like Yoda, right? So I mean, like, why couldn't that apply to the dark side in just a really dark way?
Sure.
So,
I mean,
I don't expect to see a Palpatine.
I don't expect to see Palpatine. But because I kind of don't like the idea that Palpatine was involved in this big conspiracy, when, as far as Palpatine's concerned, the rule of two is...
Well, that's the other thing that the show could explore is the rule of two. What makes a Sith?
Hypothetically, the rule of two should predate the show by a lot.
Yeah.
But
and just, I mean, like, it gets into this too with
like about
Clone Wars
years.
And, when you bring in Asajj Ventress, right? You still have the rule of two, Palpatine and Dooku, but Asajj is dark side. She's not a Sith. You don't have that title, but she still wields the dark side. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this show balances the title of Sith and who's a dark side user and all of this, and who's following the dark side.
Especially with the title Acolyte, right?
Exactly.
Because an Acolyte does not say, if you're a Sith Acolyte, it doesn't mean that you are
a Sith Lord
or a Sith at all.
Yeah,
it just means that you
follow
follower
the
Sith.
Yeah.
You're a follower of the Sith. You can describe the people on Exegol as Sith Acolytes.
Right. They're cultists,
Sith Eternal, I think they're called.
Yeah, they're called the Sith Eternal. But I mean, like, I'm saying from a more layman's language, they could be described as Acolytes. They're followers of the Sith, not necessarily Sith themselves.
But I'm very interested to see what'll come up with the show, and if it comes out at the end of the year, that's gonna be insane.
Now,
or beginning of 2024. That's still like a year away. That's still a pretty tight turnaround considering they just ramped up production, and we're getting all these other shows on top of that before this show comes out. It's insane what Lucasfilm could be pumping out in the next 15 months.
Here's my question. Do you expect to see Korriban Morband in the show? Do you want to see that? Are you even familiar with what that is?
So is that like the original Sith homeworld?
The planet of the Sith.
But not anymore. Now it's Exegol.
Now it's Exegol, yeah. Which rhymes with testicle.
Maybe we see Exegol.
Maybe. Yeah, I wouldn't be against that.
That would
I would not be against that.
Because I feel like, I mean, obviously, like, Rule of Two's at play. We're going to see the Sith, so I imagine we're going to see both of them. And yeah, the Sith know of Exegol, obviously, because that's their place. The Dark, whoever's the
maybe not, right? Like,
I mean, whoever's the master is the Dark Lord of the Sith, so they have a whole planet of followers at their disposal.
Maybe we don't know that that's not lost knowledge that Palpatine came upon, right? Like,
and what the Sith Eternal, when he showed up one day, were like, "Oh, thank God they found us again."
Yeah,
you have no idea.
Legitimately, that is possible, right? Like, because one of the reasons, at least in Legends, one of the reasons he takes the Jedi Temple as the Imperial Palace and as his palace is because he wanted access to all of the information buried under the Jedi Temple. Because the Jedi Temple is built upon a Sith Temple. The whole concept in one of the things I really liked about Last Jedi was that concept of powerful light, powerful dark. This is a Jedi Temple built on a dark side nexus, right? Because it's there to cancel out this, this reservoir of dark energy.
I was going to say about Leslie Headland is her name, who's show running Acolyte. She is a big Legends fan. She's a big Star Wars fan.
Okay.
So, people have talked about this on other shows and written about this elsewhere, that she could definitely draw inspiration from Legends, from the Republic era, the Old Republic era, High Republic. And so you could totally be seeing, things brought in the way Filoni has brought in
Darth
stuff,
Bane, Revan, all that kind of
stuff.
So,
yeah, where you pull in bits and pieces and repurpose them for the story that you're making and I guess canonize some characters and whatnot.
Truth be told, I'd rather see a lot of that than Exegol. I don't dislike Exegol. I would love to eventually find out what's going on Exegol.
I want to see, like, the cities and communities that the Sith Eternal live in and what their day-to-day lives are like.
I think it's just
you want an Andor version
that big
of
building.
Exegol?
I think it's just that one big building.
I don't know. There's a lot of them, and they like built an entire fleet, like
Sure.
in their free time in like 30 years.
I don't know.
Of planet
because
killers.
we do have it in Shadow. Is it Shadow of the Sith? Is that the book that I just read in June?
I don't know. I wasn't there.
It's okay.
I don't know where you read.
I don't.
So Shadow of the Sith.
I didn't know that you could read.
I do read.
Wow.
I read too much actually.
Wow.
Shadow of the Sith is I believe that's the title of the book. It talks about Luke and Lando and them chasing down Ochi of Bestoon, and Luke actually goes to Exegol through Force Skype.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Actually, I've been meaning to read that.
Yeah, it's really good.
I actually bought it, and I just
It's
read
really
it.
well. I think as soon as I was like halfway into it, I told you, I'm like, Frank, you got to read this.
I know.
What does
and I
he
was like,
see?
Yeah.
He fights like 12 Sith spirits.
The frick?
Yeah, and then Anakin saves
They
him.
do all this cool stuff in books, and I want to see.
Yeah, I know. Like that's the thing. Like
It's like, damn it, why can I see
it's
it?
so good. I wish it was in a movie. All right, let's talk about
Bad Batch season
Bad
dose.
Batch.
You did it. You finally you cracked the joke of all jokes. Oh no.
Copyright.
Omega.
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 All right, so we got a Bad Batch trailer.
Yeah.
Bad Batch comes out in 28 days.
January 4.
Later.
That's a movie. Good movie.
Movie.
Good movie. Good movie. So Bad Batch season 2 comes
Got 'em.
out January 4th. We see Omega. We got the Bad Batch back again.
Yeah,
we got Cody.
We got
Commander
Cody.
Rex is back.
Rex.
There's a shot of Palpatine
We
in
get
that
Sheev.
trailer.
Yeah.
We had Sheev. You could see the claw marks in his podium.
I sure hope so. I'm gonna be looking for him.
When you said that earlier, I was thinking I wanted a Bad Batch.
Do you think Palps looked at it and said, "Yeah, they'll buff right out. They'll buff right out."
That'll buff right.
Well, he probably left it as like a memorial to their folly.
Yeah.
Yoda was there. Now he's dead. So I'm going to do a whole season 1 rewatch before
Yeah,
season 2. I
think we all will. At least the three of us are planning on it.
Yeah, and like Kevin, I know he's got his timeline of what he's watching,
Right,
but we can
but-
jump ahead and watch it.
So here's my. What was your opinion on Bad Batch season 1?
So look, I did not take to Bad Batch season 1 initially. I remember watching like the first 2 or 3 episodes, and then I just like when it was airing, when initially airing, and then I just fell off, and I just didn't go back to watch it on a week-to-week basis. And it took me a good chunk of time to be like, I need to finish Bad Batch. I need to. So, I liked it fine. I liked the characters a lot though. Just kind of it just seemed like battle, advance a little bit, and then. But I really do like Omega the character. I really like the struggles that the characters go through and what they're dealing with. So I am very curious to see what they do in Bad Batch in the second season. I will be watching it from week to week because because actually going through the series, I am invested enough in these characters to see.
We're also going to talk about it.
Yes,
on here.
yes,
so.
obviously, and that's not the only reason why I'm going to watch it from week to week. It's just because I am invested in the characters for sure, and I'm really interested in Omega and what her journey is going to continue to look like. Really interested in if this isn't I don't know if this has been said anywhere or it has not been said. I don't know if this is like the last season for Bad Batch. Like, what would their fate be at the end of this season? Or will this be a series finale for Bad Batch? Because we're getting into Empire, territory here with you see the stormtroopers and clone troopers. So like there is this transition phase going on, and how far are we going to get into that? So this series very much is intriguing to me in terms of where it takes place in the timeline, and how far we progress, and where these characters go, and what is the ultimate fate of the Bad Batch. I mean, do they end up like the other clones that just hide out on some other planet, living their day-to-day lives, or do they ultimately succumb, putting up a fight against the Empire?
Yeah, I saw about like the first half of season 1 of Bad Batch, so I have some catching up to do. But I loved the animation.
Yes.
First of all,
The show looks incredible.
yeah, like
Big step up from what
It's
we
kind
had
of like
seen.
Tales of the Jedi,
Yeah.
right? At this point, in terms of the quality of the
I
animation.
think Bad
It's
Batch
really-
is. I mean, I said I had some problems with Tales from Jedi animation, Bad Batch was better.
Yeah.
animated.
Yeah, it's like it almost feels, I don't know, it's got like almost like a live action feel to it. Like I really dig it. It's easy to get like immersed in it. And it's just like really beautiful to look at. But as far as like the story goes, I really liked watching the transition of like the Republic into the Empire and how that affected the clones, and them kind of like sending in like people to come in to Camino and like look at the clones and say like, how viable is it for us to continue this clone program, because I have a million people in the galaxy that want to enlist and they're free, and I don't have to worry about putting an inhibitor chip in their head because they're already bought in to the cause, because we've brainwashed the entire galaxy. So it's great. And there's like that struggle of like the clones being like, oh no, we're still relevant. And you have like Crosshairs, his name?
Crosshair,
Yeah. He's like, you think the inhibitor chip, but he's like, I don't even need the inhibitor chip. I'm just a dick.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you, right? Like that was the thing I liked the most about the show was showing that transition point. I kind of felt the same with Frank. I don't think I seemed to, like, I kept up with it, on release day. And I enjoyed it, but I didn't enjoy it as much as, say, Clone Wars Season 7.
Yeah, I mean, not a lot is gonna come close to that.
Sure,
that's
sure. Or
that's in a different tier.
Then fine. I didn't enjoy it as much as I did, say, Rebels.
Okay, sure.
Right.
Okay.
And I think, if we're being honest, like, it's a fine show. I love the characters. I agree wholeheartedly that I love the characters. Omega and Wrecker are standouts.
Oh,
for
Wrecker's
me.
my favorite.
Sure.
I do like Hunter, but yeah.
I'm gonna wreck it.
Wrong. Nope.
Oh, boy.
What I'm most interested in seeing this season is a couple things. I want to see is Cody.
Yeah.
Because it almost seems like some of the shots we see in the trailer, it does seem like Cody is not, he's not as going as far as Crosshair. He's not as brainwashed as Crosshair. I don't know that they're going to show like redemption for Cody necessarily, but I want to see that struggle. I want to see him struggle, whether or not he, passes or fails that willpower check. I want to see him struggle struggle with it. And I really want to see, so the end credit scene was on Wayland.
Wayland Yutani?
No, but very similar concept. So in the end credit scene we see a shuttle flying into Wayland, this big mountain facility, which is from the Heir to the Empire trilogy. And it was Palpatine's sort of treasure vault. It's where he kept all of his most precious weapons. He kept a whole bunch of cloning facilities there. And it's kind of a big pivotal point for the plot of the Heir to the Empire trilogy, where we first are introduced to Thrawn. So it's kind of interesting to see that with what we're seeing with the Ahsoka series and Mandalorian and potential of Thrawn, coming up as a villain again. It's interesting to see something thrown in from Legends that we haven't seen mentioned in canon yet. And of course, that was also where, Luke fights, this cloned ex-Jedi Master, and then he fights a clone of himself named Luke.
Right.
Which really goes to supporting the bigger Luke theory, because he does have a bigger name.
Bad Batch Season 2 is going to confirm the bigger Luke
Bigger
theory.
vowels.
Bigger Luke theory
You heard it here first. And according to physics, our Luke is going to lose
to bigger Luke, right?
Because of the conservation of momentum.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think we have a lot to say about Bad Batch because we're gonna take some time in the next.
It's
couple
like
weeks
right around the corner.
really
We're gonna
talk
watch
about
it. Yeah, and we'll
Good
in the week
soldiers
preceding.
follow the format of the podcast outline for the week.
We don't have one of those, but
Well,
I
we
do.
kinda did, actually.
But I do have questions from our audience.
Oh.
So I guys, if you have questions, throw them in the comments. We're gonna I'm gonna try to answer some questions at the end of each episode.
And hit that like button and subscribe button and that little notification bell so you don't miss a thing. And if you're listening on audio only, please, if you Apple Podcast, Spotify, or just some guy on some I don't know where we do this, like Podbean, Anchor, whatever, something or other.
Yeah.
One of those.
Yeah.
Rate it. Give us a rating.
Oh yeah, rating.
Google Podcast.
we had a couple
that's
ratings up
thing.
there.
But if you've
rate
got a
that.
question, if you want a question answered, if you want, doesn't have to be related to Star Wars. Could be personal. Could be our thoughts on something.
Could be Star Trek.
Could be Star Trek.
Anything with the star.
Battlestar Galactica.
There you go.
Stargate.
Stargate. Big Stargate fans here.
SG-1. Atlantis. That other one.
The other one was bad. The other one's not bad. That one actor whose name Robert Carlyle
Okay.
was really, he's great and everything. Anyways, so our question this week comes from Saul, no known last name.
Okay.
And Saul asks, why do you guys let Kevin get away with pronouncing Lothal that way? He pronounces it lawful. Coincidentally, it rhymes with awful. How does Kevin want to explain himself? So
Do you remember I corrected him
I know.
right on the spot? And I'm not going to keep doing it if he wants to sound like that.
Okay.
That's all I got to say.
All right.
Roll the tape.
He's a grown man. He can correct himself. And if he doesn't, then he can keep going to lawful, to visit Mavra, to go kick B2 Emo in the face.
All right. Here's the thing. I can't get mad at anyone for how they pronounce things because we know I forget pronunciations as soon as I don't hear them anymore.
We still don't know if it's Vapod or Vapad or Vapod or
No.
Vapad.
We don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know. But it also doesn't matter because it's not canon anymore. So, yeah, I don't know. We're going to have a Stern talking to him when he returns.
Stern talk. Strongly worded email.
Strongly worded, a good finger shake.
Yeah. Maybe a
Kevin,
wag.
a good finger wag. But no, seriously, if you've got questions, throw them in the comments. Tweet them at us. Send them to us in Discord. Whatever you want to do.
If we give him a slap on the wrist, which wrist?
Right.
Yeah.
The right wrist?
Yeah, the right wrist. So that could be left or right. It's just got to be the right one.
Execute order, slap on the wrist.
And right.
What if we didn't do the thing?
Oh, yeah, we didn't do the thing.
Wait, we're back.
Well, we're back. Hold on.
back.
We're back.
Hey,
we didn't do the
we're
thing.
back.
Because we've been All
Beep, 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 beep.
right. We got some chocolates to eat.
Chocolate.
All right, Brando, so give us the spiel.
Yeah,
what do we got here?
So last week, this episode came out on December 1st. So we opened up the 1st. And I forgot to show you all, there's a snowman, a Frosty the Snowman with a Mandalorian helmet on.
I don't think they could see that.
I'll zoom in. Maybe.
Use your
I
imagination. And so
won't. I'll just say all the things I wish I did in the edit.
this episode's coming out on the 8th. So I think we have 7 chocolates.
Hell yeah, baby.
To get through here.
Woo!
All right, so
Sugar Rush.
we
Let's
just-
go.
Wasn't I just telling you guys how I was being more conscious about my weight? And
It's
These are
okay.
like-
The whole box is 260 calories.
Wait, hold on.
Oh,
Wait,
so-
does it say 1 per serving? It's
It's the whole box.
260 per serving, dude.
And the serving is
oh, one package
box.
is 2.
Yeah, 1 serving per container. This feels like a container to me, dude.
All right. Okay.
I don't think. Okay.
So 260
Yes,
divided by
sure.
30.
They're
or
tiny
20
chocolates,
All right,
man.
let's
25
chow.
on there, right?
Let's chow.
It's only 25 on there.
Okay, so I don't know if they're all going to be different pictures. I hope so. Otherwise, it's going to be really redundant for you guys. But
I mean, they can't see it
well,
anyways.
it's redundant for us. So
Look, it's
they're
some-
different.
It's some Life Day
So
cheer.
it's actually 10 and a half, almost 11 calories per chocolate.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Does that track? You're the science guy.
It's also
Bill,
just like
Bill,
last
Bill.
week says Star Wars
Nice.
on it, but this one it's a baby Yoda in
Baby
his little
Yodes.
carriage, and he's got like Christmas lights on the carriage.
Nice. All right.
I hope that was the correct day. So now you got to open up the third.
Now you got to find the
number
third
3. Number 3.
Yeah, I don't know why they're scattered the way that they are.
one.
'Cause it's
because
an adventure.
It's supposed to be an adventure
I got Baby Grogu
with a bow.
with a bow.
He's an ornament.
right there. Look at that.
Yeah, they
It's
can't
incredible.
see that.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Okay.
Is this in 4K?
Use your imagination.
Is this in 4K?
All right.
Number 4.
Number 4. Oh look, it's Glup Shitto. I got Glup Shitto. You guys zoom in on that. It says Glup Shitto.
Was it really?
I don't think that's
I
true.
don't. That'd be incredible if it did.
Yeah,
I
they
bought this
can't-
at a
They
World
still
Market.
can't.
No,
see
it does say glove shit. Wow. I said that was 4. You get number 5.
These little
Okay.
Star Wars stamped chocolates are kind of cute.
I'll be honest. It says Galaxy's greetings. 5. Day number 5.
Number 5.
Where is it?
5. Look alive. Number
Haha.
5. Look alive.
Red 5. I can't shake him. I can't shake him. And that's how he died, and Luke took his place.
Dang.
Beep, 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 beep.
Oh, this one looks different. This is a different shape. Oh, wait, no, you got a different shape that day also.
It's a Grogu. I think all the Grogus look like that.
There's another Grogu.
Yeah.
He's in like a snow globe.
Oh.
A snow glow Grogu.
Okay.
You know, I thought
number 6, right? Mm-hmm. Okay.
You know, I was thinking we should do one chocolate every episode for 25 episodes.
We should get it. We'll get another calendar for that.
Okay. That's an entire
another Grogu. Who would have thought?
Wow.
And and this says Star Wars right on it.
Wow.
But that's Grogu coming out of a little package. So where are we at? That was 6.
Number 7.
Number
Last one.
No, 8. Because today's the 8th.
Oh, that's right.
Today's
in
the
the
8th.
future.
The future?
We're filming this on the 8th.
The future is now.
And any news that came out on the 8th that we didn't talk about, it's because we didn't want to talk about it.
But also, stay tuned to the channel for maybe a reaction or something like that.
Where was it?
Just saying.
7? Oh, look at that. It's Grogu coming out of a Christmas present.
Hell yeah. That's a present.
Look at that.
That was Frank's, too.
Kind of like at the end of the first
Oh my god,
episode.
yeah.
You know,
Wait, yeah, the
Mandalorian.
6th and the 7th were the same picture. I feel kind of ripped off.
I feel gypped.
Dang. That's like deja vu.
Okay, 8th it is. I get the extra chocolate today.
Ding, ding, ding.
I didn't think it was that good at first, but it gets better the more I eat.
The more chocolate you have, yeah.
And that's how chocolate works.
Yeah, and this one is also a different perspective of the baby Grogu in his carriage, but from the front, and he's got little Christmas lights on.
Look at that.
Listen, if you want more of us opening advent calendars, if you
Holiday calendars.
if you want more of us talking shit on whoever's not here this week,
Yeah, those get better every time.
if you want more of all of this, subscribe. Come back next week every Thursday morning at 10 Pacific or whatever time that works for you in your translations. I don't do time zones.
Do you know Bocce? I need a co-host who understands the language of moisture evaporators.
He's got a bad motivator.
There we go.
Scoundrel. I like the sound of that.